we'll get started here. Okay, he left early. Live early and watching the Zelensky-Trump fight. Oh, they canceled the press conference? They canceled the press conference? Oh my God. Okay, well, sorry, I apologize. I didn't know they canceled the fucking press conference. And Trump actually kicked him out. I knew they fought. I didn't realize he just got kicked. Oh my God, this literally just happened. Okay, I thought I was actually paying attention to what oh my God. 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 I'm behind. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I understand why people were like, no personal news. God damn. Bro, what the hell? What the hell? What a crazy way to start the day. Holy moly. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. It's bedlam. But yeah, TrueAnon on later to discuss MAGA, Epstein, Fallout, and more. Get in now. Holy moly, what a crazy day. What a crazy day! Okay. Let's watch. So Trump meets Zelensky. Okay, Disney comes in. All right, he comes in. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to set the stage for all of you. Okay, I'm going to set the stage for all of you. So this is supposed to be coming off the heels of weeks and weeks of Donald Trump calling Zelensky a dictator, saying he sucks, saying he ain't shit, saying Zelensky's got no bitches, constantly talking about how Zelensky's short, all this stuff, okay? He's like, you got no money, no bitches, no job prospects, and you're a dictator. That's what Donald Trump is saying over and over again. And in the process, there's also this mineral deal that's, being floated around where Trump is like, I'm going to take all your raw earth. I'm going to hit that earth raw. He just keeps saying, I'm going to hit the earth raw. I have your minerals. I'm going to take it. Okay. I'm going to take all of your minerals. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's weird because, we don't even know if there's a lot of minerals or whether or not they are even rare earth minerals. They're certainly raw, but I don't know if they're going to be rare earth minerals or not. And regardless, he's like, Trump is saying, I want the minerals because we gave you so many weapons. We gave you all of our old busted ass equipment. And that was like $300 billion. It's time to pay up, which is, pretty honest in terms of how American foreign policy normally works. But obviously, optically speaking, probably not a very good deal. It's probably a kind of a raw deal for Ukraine, but it was always slated to be a raw deal regardless. But now after all of this, there's still this back and forth where there's this suspicion where Donald Trump, dials it back and says no, did I call Zelensky a dictator yesterday or the other day or every single day since then? Ooh, was that me? I don't know. So that's basically the last thing that happened before this Zelensky conference was supposed to happen. He linked up with Keir Starmer, also known as Keir Stalin. He talked to Macron. Macron touched him in the leg, maybe even touched his heart. He's been talking to all the European heads while constantly talking about how he's going to tear the shit out of our European allies, right? But when he did the whole, did I do that thing? I thought to myself, okay, he's probably going to go back on this stuff. He's just playing hardball. He's going to give them more old weapons and tell them they can continue fighting or whatever until they just I guess, inevitably come to a ceasefire negotiation, a bargain, going along with the other side of the Brandonian policy, right? And boy, was I wrong. I didn't think that this would happen. Okay, I'll admit, a lot of you look to me and say, Hassan, you apply the scientific dialectical materialist analysis to things that are happening all around the world, and you are at least relatively knowledgeable when it comes to issues like Israel, Palestine, and seemingly this is very helpful in making accurate assessments or even sometimes predictions. But when it comes down to Donald Trump, especially in the way that he's dealt with this Zelensky stuff, it is utterly unpredictable. Okay? It is completely unpredictable. This is the Nixonian madman theory in action, but this time it's actually a madman. There is no IR interpretation for the way that Donald Trump operates. I'll say it, okay? There's no he has redefined the genre. Okay? He has redefined the entire genre. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody can make, like, there's no real politique. Okay? There's no real politique here. There's no fucking there's no constructionist the way of approaching it. There's no Marxist interpretation for international relations here. It's just Trump. Okay? It's just Trump, and he might say some shit. He might turn back on it. But yeah, let me explain to you what happened to the best of my ability, because it's virtually impossible to truly come to terms with what the fuck happened here. So after Zelensky comes over to the White House and we're like, okay, there's gonna be a fucking mineral deal. Is this going to end up with more weapons for Ukraine? Or is this going to end up with like a finalized, ceasefire bargain or anything like that? It turns out, no. It's a secret third option. Okay? It's a secret third option that virtually no one could have seen. Okay? Like, what the hell, bro? Let's watch. Truly a nutty moment in American politics, okay? All right, so they come in.
What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America. And for the good of the world, I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous...
Bro, there is nothing funnier than the camera panning over to Zelensky. He's like, you can't... I don't like the guy, but what are you going to do? He is a victim here. He's a hostage, like the January 6th hostages. He's held a hostage. The entire world has been so unfair to Vladimir. They've been so unfair to him. All he wanted to do was denazify Ukraine. He wanted to do a special military operation to denazify Ukraine. I tell you, folks, Nazis, not very fine people on both sides, okay? Let me tell you, he just wanted to denazify. Also, Slava Ukraini, that's a hate crime. Let me tell you, everybody knows 14,000 people died in Donbass. All the people in LPR and DPR, all they wanted to do was maintain independence. They had Russian roots. Alexander Dugin. What accent is that? I'm so hopped up that I can't even do a good Trump right now. Okay? Many people are saying I'm a Duganist. What's wrong with that? He's got some good ideas, folks. They did the Tsar so wrong. He had great ideas. He was going to fix the Russian Empire. All these peasants, the Bolshevik Revolution, very unacceptable. Don't we hate it, folks? That's why I like Putin. He's going to restore it.
Tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe.
With the world.
I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me?
Wait, it's at 120? What do you mean? Like you want me to go more? Why do you want me to go further? Like, it's fine. I want to hear the rest. I want to hear this.
I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years.
Okay, shut up. Why are you there? Who's this man? Who is this guy? Does anybody know who this guy is? I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Who the fuck is this guy? Why are you in the room, dog? The fuck is your purpose? Excuse me. Where is the real president? Where is Elon Musk? Why is Elon Musk not in the room? Who the frick is this guy thinking he can have a moment in the spotlight? Like, don't try to clip farm, okay? You're not FaZe Ronaldo, little bro. Okay? You're not Lacey. You can't. You are not the clip. Don't come in here to be like, oh, let me get a couple licks in on Zelensky so that people can talk about me too. Like, get the frick out of here, dude. Anyway, sorry.
Years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
He admitted Putin invaded Ukraine. Yeah, he has. That's why he's there, by the way. He's the moderating voice. He is the moderating voice. He put his freaking eyeliner on this morning thinking to himself, I'm really going to have my moment here, okay? I'm going to play both sides here. I'm going to say the truth about the matter while Donald Trump says insane stuff. But just wait, because Donald Trump doesn't like this, okay? He doesn't like being around beta men, okay? Beta males. He is not a fan. He is not a fan of beta males. And now he's surrounded by two, okay? Donald Trump, the GOAT, Mr. MAGA, Mr. Alpha Dog, okay? Surrounded by not one, but two.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky.
Wait, why don't I just, I want to see what Zelensky says here and then
Sure.
Trump's reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people.
He does not want to hear any of this, bro. He's like, bro, stop talking. He's like, stop talking. Like, you ain't even, he's like, you ain't even funny. He's like, you ain't even funny. I've seen your comedies. I didn't like them. I didn't like your comedies.
Of Ukraine.
All right, let's
And
watch
we've
this. This is like the full vid, okay? This is the chaos.
Been working
He does
very
not
hard,
want to hear even a second, okay?
very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries. I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something.
This
that
isn't funny
is
to me. I am
a
too
very-
woke. Brother, there is virtually nothing we can do about American foreign policy decisions. Okay? Nothing. Do you understand? Nothing. It is not a democracy. Please make no mistake. There is no democratic process here. There is no morality here. I'm using this as an opportunity for everyone to recognize the reality. Okay? Recognize the reality. There is a reason why American foreign policy has left behind so many countries in rubble, which then turn those American weapons formerly used against American adversaries on America. Okay? How do you think 9/11 happened? Like, what do you think was 9/11? 9/11 is literally the precursory to 9/11, but this time happening in an Eastern European country. Straight up. And I've been this is basically, you remember that tweet from that one journalist who was like, I've been investigating this story for years and years, and he just tweeted it. That's how I feel. That's how I feel when I watch these things unfold. Because for years and years, I have been critical of American foreign policy for being so violent and so cruel and not even caring remotely about the humanity of the people that we just use like a dish rag, okay? Only to have those people understandably develop resentment towards us or even other allies, expressions of American empire, and then eventually turn around and turn the same weapons that we gave them on us, okay? That's it. This is exactly what happened with Operation Cyclone. There's a reason why this meme exists, you know? The whole, eventually they'll turn on you, the meme that I used on my blast off tweet as well. Okay, whether it be Manuel Noriega from U.S. friend to foe, whether it be Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, Muammar Gaddafi, you know, this is how it works. This is the most consistent, most coherent American foreign policy. Do you understand? That's why I always say, hey, listen, if you're leftist, you're right, just too early. Okay? Joe Biden fucked over Ukraine. Of course Joe Biden fucked over Ukraine. Yes. And Trump is basically just full tilt, finishing the job.
Very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much, and we will continue to do that.
Sean Ray, thank you for the raise, Sean. Hope you had a good stream, brother.
With Russia, I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers. On both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop. And we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding. And we're going to be working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So, yeah.
So it starts off relatively normal, from what I understand. Relatively normal. Okay, there's a little bit of like pushback. Okay, there's a little bit of a history lesson from Zelensky. Of course, the entire press conference that's taken place here, this entire meeting that's happening here, is happening on the backdrop of Donald Trump's insane actions in terms of foreign policy, voting alongside Russia and North Korea and Belarus to say they're not condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which was already a symbolic gesture to begin with, right? Those are symbolic votes in general, but they matter when America obviously completely changes its alignment. Donald Trump is calling Zelensky a dictator over and over again, saying he sucks over and over again, saying like, we're going to take all your minerals, all this stuff. And then seemingly it falls apart.
It's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much.
It's so bad. Even most of Asmongold's chat is saying Trump L. Yes, because Asmongold is pro-Ukraine. He's pro, I think, what is it? Like he's on Ukraine, on the issue of healthcare, on the issue of like some left-wing populist sentiment, he is not on board with Trump, but it's not enough to like be a spoiler for him. That's it.
For coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things. And we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when we get when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for your invitation. And really, I hope that this document, first document, will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees. Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom, and democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories. But it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russians. And I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the license.
Look at this. Look at this asshole, by the way. Every moment of his life, like we know who this demon is, okay? And we know who this demon is. He's just a brown noser. But this demon is still very much an old school American war hawk. 99 votes in the Senate, including Bernard Sanders, by the way. Remember, that's how uniparty American foreign policy is, okay? He has an image to project. He has an image to maintain. And he's just sitting there being like, I really hope that this doesn't get out of hand because Donald Trump is a little crazy. And he's just sitting there, okay, pants riding all the way up to his goddamn knees like a little boy.
Licenses for all our drones with you, of course, with the United States, and we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secured. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that this crazy Russian, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names, they changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back, and really, it's a big dream, task, and goal for me, and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we exchanged.
Not a great day for the Zelensky was installed by the Americans crowd.
Warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images. How it's just
they're not going to win that stupid war. Russia's going to win. No, nobody. Only America wins.
1 minute.
In this situation.
To understand in what circumstances, in what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, they are And that's so they don't eat. They beat them, and they, a lot of bad things.
By the way, I do want to mention something here, but like this is like Israel stuff that he's doing here, but these guys don't care. They don't care. You can literally show the brutality in I mean, and the previous administration didn't care either. They just used it to, keep saying, no, we're on the morally correct side here, but also give us the minerals, please. Like, that would be sick. But that's it. They didn't care either, but they at least like operated on the boundaries of caring. They didn't care, but they at least would use it as a way to explain why they were aligning with Ukraine in the way that they were aligning with Ukraine. Donald Trump, on the other hand, does not give a fuck. You could show him like open graves from Bucha, and he would just look at it and be like, I don't care. You shouldn't have had people there. You shouldn't have had people there ready to be invaded and killed. Like, he just does not care. He is an animal. Okay? What? Libs of TikTok, Lamau.
That are lost every year in Medicaid.
Hassan Piker just called for violence against a sitting U.S. senator. If you cared about Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. No, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying that if he did, he would apply capital punishment to Rick Scott. Yes. At FBI. I can't even respond to this because this dumbass blocked me. I guess I could. Anyway, let's continue.
Things
at FBI.
So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that 50, 60 kilograms left and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will just share with you. I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yep, it's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you, and you see it.
Yeah.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. We, at the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see. Yeah, so I mean, this I wanted to show you, and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah, of course we will.
And I think we will. And
We have to, of course.
do you have any questions, please?
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much, because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and.
Yeah, so the raw earth. Oh my God, why am I saying raw earth now? I love that he says it like why has no one stopped him from saying this? It's now official lexicon. I'm saying it too. Oh my God. Raw earth. The raw earth is raw. God damn. You doing okay, brother? I mean, I'm doing fine. I don't know how anyone could be doing okay in these circumstances, but raw earth. Okay. Anyway, he's talking about raw earth. We're going to extract the raw earth. Initially, I thought the way Donald Trump presented this, I thought that he meant, he's getting 50% of their minerals, rare earth minerals, not raw earth minerals, specifically for all of the weapons that they've sent thus far. Now, it seems like it is for the additional weapons that they might send to Ukraine, except according to Caitlin Collins, who was in the room, no deal was signed. So we don't even know if that's currently on the table.
Sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil.
Yeah, I know. He ate it.
Gas,
he ate it big time.
But we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil, and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this This has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all.
He keeps going. He just keeps saying raw earth. Why is nobody? Okay, whatever. How are you going to even what? That's not even the most significant part of this conversation. Sorry, it's just let's just keep going. Sorry, I apologize for caring about this. It's so stupid. It's so stupid to care about this.
Great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000, and they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to. This is a tremendous amount of money, and what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but
him starting with the Russian soldiers, it's also indicative of what his position is. But it's kind of funny where he goes, what Biden did was terrible, and why what Biden did was terrible was not because like he didn't force Ukraine and Russia to come to the table for a ceasefire when Ukraine had more leverage. What Biden did wasn't terrible because he didn't actually hastily bring forth enough weapons that Ukraine could defend itself with initially when there were more people in Ukraine, when they had more of a standing military that hadn't been destroyed. He didn't. Like, those weren't the reasons, right? Those were not the reasons why Biden was terrible. It was because he didn't get assurances for the old-ass weapons that we dumped into fucking Ukraine that the military-industrial complex was able to get an incredible return off of. Like, that's the real reason. The real reason is he just didn't, like, farm Ukraine harder, which he did. Of course, Biden farmed Ukraine as well, just like Donald Trump is doing. Okay. The only difference here is he didn't actively come out and regularly be like, Zelensky sucks. That's the only difference. That's it. But for him, the biggest crime for Biden, I guess, was that he wasn't aggressive enough with Ukraine, which is a crazy thing.
They had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country. This allows us to do this.
But Mr. President,
Will you continue?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Sending military aid?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next document, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see a really good will for this. LNG terminal.
This is a disgrace that the U.S. is extorting an ally for its minerals while we are under attack from a brutal dictatorship. You're suggesting that Biden and Trump are essentially the same? That's a gross mischaracterization of reality. Brother, what are you talking about? Biden and his team also were quietly, like, read reports on this, please, from American news outlets. Biden and his team also were trying to do the same exact mineral deal. Okay? The only difference between Biden and Trump is that Trump is a fucking psycho and will actively undermine Ukraine, even though they are not only the wronged party here, but also the ally in this equation. That's the major difference. Okay? But in terms of like the mineral deals that we're talking about here, Do you still believe American foreign policy is uniparty? Yes. The broad strokes of American foreign policy is uniparty. Republicans, and this is something that I consistently explain to you guys, and I think it just like gets lost in translation or something. American foreign policy is uniparty. However, Republicans are the accelerant. They come into power and they just pull it all the way. They just go crazy mode with it. The direction is still the same. Republicans just accelerate. And then Democrats, when they come into power, don't actually reverse that trajectory. There are very rare exceptions for this, but beyond like the denuclearization agreement with Iran that Barack Obama put in place, or normalizing relations with Cuba that Barack Obama also did, there are very few instances where the Democratic administration, Biden's administration, that came in after, for example, Trump's administration, Biden's administration did not actually reverse the trajectory of every single thing that the Trump admin had done prior, especially as it pertains to Israel, for example. Okay? This is open. Like, this is open in broad daylight. How does this not come across as even remote? Like, how does it not shock you when he's doing it? Yes, there's a big difference between trying to use a little leverage for a mineral deal, sitting down with Putin without Zelensky there. I think the goals are the same, but the method of execution matter. No, I agree with you. I don't disagree with you on that at all. I think optics when it comes to soft power and diplomacy are profoundly important. I think at the end of the day, the outcome was still the same for Ukraine. Having said that, however, the optics do matter, because if America does not even care about presenting itself as like a peacekeeping nation, then all of a sudden our European allies are going to look at that and go, oh my God, these guys are saying it. These guys are going to fuck us over. They've been fucking us over, as a matter of fact. People are going to catch up to that reality. Okay? This is what I've been saying since day one, since Trump took office. His mismanagement on the Ukraine side of the bargain has been ridiculous. He could have Zelensky there at the table every day of the week. He doesn't have to undermine Zelensky at all. Whatever he says goes regardless. America holds all the cards in this equation. Having said that, however, he could just as easily bring Zelensky to the table in front of Vladimir Putin. The choice not to do so is important. It is definitely different than what Biden would have done if he ever actually wanted to put forth a ceasefire negotiation. He should have, okay? That was my big problem with Biden's administration when it came to Israel and Gaza. That is exactly my big problem with the Biden administration when it came to Ukraine and Russia. A lot of people yelled at me at the time, but Ukraine had significantly more leverage in the initial phases of the invasion to actually put together a much more comprehensive and much better ceasefire proposal, and the Biden administration was not even remotely interested in it. It's not benefit of hindsight either, for the record, because it wasn't hindsight at the time I said it. And plenty of other people said it too. That's why I get so mad when people go, this is hindsight. It's like, what do you mean hindsight? Virtually every pro-Ukrainian channel and account yelled at me and said I was fucking dick riding Vladimir Putin. I loved Adolf Hitler. And it wasn't just me. There were plenty of people that made this exact same call. You called Ukrainians Nazis? Brother, there have been 7 quintillion moments where I have actively noted that the denazification argument from Adolf Hitler was not even remotely appropriate, okay? Shut the fuck up. Yes, the existence of Azov Battalion does not change that dynamic. Shut up. You called Ukrainians Nazis. I didn't call Ukrainians Nazis, you dipshit. You just got fucking clip farmed because you're a moron. And right now, things are happening and unfolding in front of your eyes that you can't contend. So what do? You lash out at me, okay? Dog watched one clip 3 years ago. And even before then.
For us, it's very important. And
there's nothing funnier than Donald Trump basically exploding the ceasefire negotiation that he himself put into place, and there's still sex pestiny dick riders in my fucking chat trying to get a clip out to be like, you called Ukrainians Nazis. Ukraine is literally fucking collapsing, and these guys are more worried about trying to get a clip off, okay? Oh, I hope he responds to me so I can farm an out of context clip. Like, how you lock in, please? Holy shit!
Of European continent, we have the biggest storage, gas storage. We have the biggest in Europe. Yes, and we can use it. Use it for LNG. Use it for LNG, and we will do it. And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they have our friends, and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President.
They did.
Really, they did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No. No.
Don't argue with me.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
And as a president of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, you know I'm only kidding, right? Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be better than Washington. But you never know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great 35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know. But I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had. And this is one of the very important things. This, to me, is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak. And I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents, whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
Mr. President Trump.
Will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine?
Yeah, we're going to be continuing.
To President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side at this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, was really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history, I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
We've had very, very good talks.
President Zelensky just said that there'd be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you, firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you think that you may be able to offer or bring to the table, for example, elections? Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. It's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile, to put it mildly. They've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. There's been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's
A poet.
dead level. That's
A real
why it's great farm-
poet, dude. Trump is a real poet, okay? Flatland, only thing that stops a bullet is a human body.
farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody.
I'm fully on his side. I don't think he said anything was wrong, but do you feel like, given how important U.S. aid is to Ukraine, Zelensky should have acted differently, glazed Trump/USA more? There is nothing. I just tweeted about this, actually. Interesting question, but there is literally nothing Zelensky can do. Nothing in this equation that will stop Trump and his admin from humiliating him. Obviously, our proxies are always powerless in these circumstances, but the decorum is totally broken. No care for diplomacy. The end of American soft power. He did. He literally glazed them. He at 11:30, 30 minutes ago, Zelensky still posted a tweet being like, "Thank you so much, Mr. America. Thank you so much, at POTUS, for kicking me out. It is okay. We love America." Like, it does not matter. He was glazing him. He was glazing him the whole time. He was. What do you want him to do? What more can he do? He could literally get on his hands and knees and suck Trump off, and it still would not change this dynamic. Look, this is basically the proverbial getting on your hands and knees and sucking Trump off. He said, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that." What do you think this is? This is after he got kicked out, bro. This is after he got kicked out. This is literally a man who is on his hands and knees. And the reality of the matter is, the power dynamic has always been this way. Okay? It has always been this way. The difference here is Donald Trump is not even trying to maintain any sort of like optical illusion that we are here, we're in it for defending Ukraine. We're in it for helping Ukraine. Okay? We're in it to help Ukraine out in any capacity. He's just actively saying, nope, not even a little bit. No more carrots, only sticks. Okay? Understand that in terms of the power dynamic between America and Ukraine, this has always been the case. Oh my God. Breaking. NBC reports that the U.S. State Department is ending support for Ukraine's power grid restoration. It is so insane. It is so insane. Are you pro-Ukraine regardless of this? Just curious. What do you mean pro-Ukraine regardless of this? I've always been pro-Ukraine. The Ukrainian people are the ones who are getting fucked over no matter which way this goes. They're either going to get fucked over by Russia or they're going to get fucked over by America. Right now, they're getting fucked over by both at the same time. And in ways that even I did not foresee. Like, this is beyond what I think, beyond what I foresaw happening. Like, it's unbelievable. It is new levels of depravity. Unbelievable shit. He is actively telling our European allies, especially, he's actively telling our European allies, like, you're next. You're fucked. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to help you. You better nut up. You better buy more American weapons pronto. You know, you're on your own. I don't care. This is a change in the trajectory of American foreign policy where we're not going to stop dominating the rest of the planet, obviously. But the ways in which American foreign policy is operated in perpetuity, whether it was the George W. Bush administration or the Obama administration or the Biden administration, American foreign policy has at least always had the image of helping people. America's the world police. But everyone is fine with that because they think like, yeah, you know, ultimately they have our best interest in mind. You know, we're all Western allies. We do it together. He's literally saying like, no, we've never been allies. Like he's dropping the pretext. No more facade. No, know your place. You are a colony. That's what he's saying. And I think this is genuinely worrisome. Okay? It's genuinely worrisome because I feel as though we're moving into the next phase of the downfall of American empire where we will be actively and openly way more violent, way more selfish, way more ruthless. And there won't be any massaging of the truth. There won't be any optics for this. There won't be any like, this is the morally righteous position. Here is why. And do all of this like manufactured consent stuff. None of that. Just saying it's a protection racket and I want you to pay up right now. I don't care. Okay? There's never been a moment where I have advocated for full and utter humiliating surrender for the Ukrainian population. That's ridiculous. I think that a competent administration that came before this Trump one, the Biden administration, because remember, they were the foreign policy geniuses, right? Should have recognized that the upcoming administration is going to really escalate American foreign policy in a scary direction, okay? And not even shelter the world from the most damaging aspects of American imperialism and actively portray it as a good thing, and should have wrapped it up ahead of time, but they didn't. Part of the reason why they didn't is because they don't give a shit, okay? They don't care. The previous administration doesn't care either. They'll say they care on television, but they actually don't care. If they did, they would have wrapped it up. They have all the power. You think Trump is the most powerful American politician? Ukraine has many more soldiers than Russia. Russia is losing 6-1 in Ukraine, but you're wrong. Ukraine can easily defend for years without Russia. I don't know what to say to this insanity. I mean, this is, I guess, the other side of the consent manufacturing machine where you have deluded yourself.
At the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Will President Putin have to make compromises?
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led?
This is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend from literally OAN or Newsmax or one of those outlets, by the way. Those are the journalists who are asking these questions.
This country into another war and ended foreign wars. And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things. I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not have been a good situation. What was your second question?
And my second question, why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the high.
That's crazy. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend is shitting on Zelensky in the Oval Office in front of the entire press pool, and JD Vance is laughing. The American vice president is laughing about it. Like, dude, that's so crazy. What do you mean? Like, that's a question that like I get why it's funny to many people, but this is not the place for this. And they shouldn't be laughing. What the fuck?
Level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you do own
like
it.
Getting humiliated like this, like being an American proxy aside, you are no longer just getting humiliated by the president. You're getting humiliated by a presidential dick rider who is like a drunk baboon, okay? Whose claim to fame is fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sorry, that is insane. Like, there is nothing lower than this, okay? You're getting shitted on by the court jester. Like, yeah, and you can tell it's definitely inappropriate because look at Marco Rubio, okay? Look at Marco Rubio versus this clown ass. Marco Rubio is like, finally, I have secured the reins of the American State Department, and it's under this administration. You know what I mean? I worked my entire life, worked my way up, okay? And here we are. Now I'm in an incredible position of power. And this is the administration that I'm a part of.
You have problems. I don't have such. I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one,
Maybe something like this.
something like yours.
Yes,
Yes,
sir. That'd be great.
maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah. Thank you.
President Trump, you said yesterday, thank you, President Trump. You said yesterday that you have.
Are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we've...
You got to play the Lindsey Graham clips on Fox News. Dude is a full-on Russian asset now, saying Zelensky should be replaced. Ukrainians reported in December that Putin was going to try and push him out, and then here we are today. Brother, Lindsey Graham is not a Russian asset. He is a Donald Trump asset, okay? Lindsey Graham quite literally used to be the best friend of the maverick John McCain. And then Donald Trump famously said, I like my war heroes that aren't captured. Lindsey Graham was very upset about that. That's his best friend. After John McCain died, Lindsey Graham has been up Trump's asshole, following every single thing that he says and does. Okay? Lindsey Graham will say whatever Trump is saying. He will just parrot whatever Trump is saying, but he will try to communicate it in a way that is more professional. That's it. Okay? That's it. That's it. I mean, look, yeah, he's like, oh, Russia is scared. Lindsey Graham says he told Trump that his interaction with Zelensky was the best television he's ever seen. I think that Moscow was more afraid than ever. Why would Moscow be afraid? Like, I think, yeah, here, look at this. Big shit from Lindsey Graham on Fox just now. He said he doesn't know if Zelensky is redeemable. The question for me, for the Ukrainian people, I just don't know if Zelensky can ever get you where you want to go with the United States. Either he dramatically changes or you got to get someone new. He wants...
I just think there's no way the president could have signed that deal, given the way he and JD and...
Like, this man has been literally up Ukraine's ass before. Like, in the Obama administration, him, John McCain, Amy Klobuchar, they would do these joint, like, foreign policy link-ups in Ukraine. He has stood in front of, like, the Azov battalion and shit. You know what I mean? He is the guy who very famously said under the Biden administration that, you know, this is a great deal for 5% of our military budget. We eradicated 50% of our foreign adversaries' military. Like, he is pro unlimited arms to Ukraine. So how is he? What is he doing here? What's going on here?
In our country were treated. I don't know if you can put it back together. I don't know if you can repair the damage. And I've busted my ass to try to help Ukraine to make sure we help them win a war that would, you know, get this war over in a way that we don't have further aggression. And Donald Trump's the man to do it. I told him this morning, I told him, don't take the bait. Don't let the media or anybody else get you into a argument with President Trump. What he's doing today is resetting the relationship. You should be grateful. Now, whether or not we can put this back together, I don't know. But Zelensky's going to be on your network tonight. If I were him, I would profusely apologize to the way he treated our president and the vice president in the Oval Office and show a little bit of gratitude for what the American people have done.
Senator, how does Moscow and Putin look at this?
Insanity. Complete insanity.
Very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, you know, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, you know, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You know, you fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you said over and over, I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceive.
Saying security is the least consequential aspect of Russia's invasion of Ukraine is insane. No, man, that's the whole part. That's the entire story. is not 2%. It's 200% of the story. What are you saying? He wouldn't have to grovel on his hands and knees over here if security was not that big of a issue. Trump is just laying out openly what the relationship between America, the American master, and its foreign puppets has always been, albeit kept usually behind closed doors. No, exactly. But I think that revealing this power dynamic is scary for one reason and one reason only, from my assessment, and that is that America is moving into a new direction in terms of how it handles its foreign allegiances. America is moving in a more ruthless and more honest direction. And I think that will make Americans in general, more violent, okay? That will make America more violent. That will make America's allegiances harder to deal with, okay? It's turning, we're moving into the next phase of our dying empire. That is what I'm seeing. And it's a scary it's a scary thing to examine.
You know, we have security in a different form. We'll have workers there.
No, not an isolationist. No, fuck no. Yeah, isolationist. That's why Donald Trump wants to buy Gaza. That's what you do when you're an isolationist. When you're an isolationist, you continue along with the previous administration that you quote unquote hate, right? You continue along with the agenda of the previous administration to add permanent security assurances and maybe even standing U.S. military to the state of Saudi Arabia, okay? When you're an isolationist, that's what you do. You give them nukes, or you move along with the nuclearization of the Saudi grid, and also simultaneously offer additional security assurances and potentially even more military troops presence there, okay? When you're an isolationist, you also continue along with the previous administration's agenda of sending billions and billions of dollars of arms to Israel. When you're an isolationist, you actively say the cartel is now known as a terrorist entity, so you can actually drone strike willy-nilly the fucking American southern border, okay, and beyond. When you're an isolationist, you say you're going to invade Greenland and you're going to annex Canada, and that Canada is the 51st state of the United States of America. None of that is isolationist. No. That's why I'm saying American foreign policy doesn't change. It just gets worse and worse, more and more violent. Okay? How is any of this isolationist? It's not. It's just a more honest form and perhaps more violent form of imperialism. Bro, I was so wrong about you and a lot of things. I have a lot of learning to do, but I'm trying my best.
Digging, taking
literally everything you said is isolationist. Wait, what? I don't think you understand what the English language, like the dictionary definition of isolation is. If you think that more troop presence all around the globe is isolationist, or annexation of foreign land, sovereign nations is isolationist, you don't understand the word. You don't understand any words, as a matter of fact. Open the schools!
We can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question? Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
President, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well,
oh my
God!
God!
I like him.
He
One
skipped
American
over
News.
CNN's Caitlin Collins to respond to One American News Glaze Suckfest. Oh my God! Oh my God! Dude, this is a mockery. Okay. Yes, access journalism has been the meta for mainstream press for the past multiple decades at this point. There is no more adversarial journalism, but this is, once again, a new level. This is Modi shit, dude. This is straight up. This is like Dude, they're gonna have the Nelk Boys in there. I'm telling you, Nelk Boys are gonna be in the building. Nelk Boys are gonna be a part of the goddamn press pool, being like, Mr. President, what's your favorite flavor of Zin, sir?
Does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement, because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
Mr. President, if I can answer.
President
Yes, if I
Zelensky.
can answer.
Please,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think
I
he's
like this guy. I don't know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
questions.
that's
I will
good-
answer on more serious
good
questions if
statement.
I can.
Yes.
Yeah. So please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will never work, because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his.
Trump doesn't
own
like that.
signature.
Trump does not like that. Don't talk shit on the big dog, okay? Dude, don't do it. Don't do it. He is not liking that at all. Do not bring that up. Oh, my
25
Lord.
times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president.
He
You
never
were the
broke-
president.
Oh, that's it. Nope, it's over. Okay, that's it. That's the breaking point. He broke the ceasefire agreement while you were president. Done. It's done. All of a sudden, okay, Krasnov activation code. Suka bliat. Beep, beep, beep. That right there is the breakoff point, because that right there reminded Donald Trump of all the times where he felt wronged by Zelensky, okay? All the times where he's like, who the fuck do you think you are? This has, in some ways, I think that if it wasn't Donald Trump, but still like a brash and bold right-wing reactionary administration, the way that they would handle this, the outcomes would still be the same in terms of mineral deals and bringing Russia to the table, whatever. But the ways in which Donald Trump is communicating here is unique to him, because he is an incredibly narcissistic person who also happens to like authoritarian strongmen. Okay, that's it. He likes Vladimir Putin. He likes Xi Jinping personally. He likes Putin personally. He likes Kim Jong-un personally. He liked Duterte back in the day. He likes those guys. He likes Erdogan. Okay? I'm telling you right now, he likes those guys, and he hates Zelensky because he feels wronged by Zelensky. And for this reason, for this insane reason, he's just like, oh, this over. I'm going to directly shit on you. He likes Modi too. Oh my God, he likes Orban. God damn, there are so many authoritarian strongmen. Holy shit. I feel like with the exception of Western European liberal capitalist nations who Trump hates because they're an extension of the Democratic Party in his eyes, and Zelensky also fits that bill as well because, they're also an extension of the Democratic Party in his eyes. There are a lot of leaders and more leaders that Donald Trump likes. Anyway, let's continue.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those periods, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire, it will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough, because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, you know, he knows that we have, all the world knows that we have meeting, yes? Why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security. When we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance, connection between the United States as the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial, this is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense, Joe. Air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us, you know? It's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts, I think maybe with your team also, I don't know. But with all the Europeans, in media, official and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President, that's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine? Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
They have to pay. This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began those?
By the way, every single thing he said in terms of Vladimir Putin, okay, not caring about Ukrainian lives or even caring about Russian lives, or even the fact that he is supposed to pay reparations, is 100% correct. Okay? Make no mistake. It is 1,000% correct. So there is zero things that he said there that is wrong. The problem here is Donald Trump doesn't like that at all, because in his mind, he thinks that Zelensky should shut the fuck up, bow down, and basically say Vladimir Putin is, his hand was forced to invade Ukraine because of the liberal administration's incompetence or something. I don't know. I suspect that that's what he wants. Has it ever been the case that the victor pays reparations? I mean, it's not, you could consider it not reparations, but even like rebuilding. I mean, America did fund the rebuilding of Western Germany. They did. America rebuilt Japan. We did the Marshall Plan. So, yeah, even in that situation, yes, America was supposed to also pay reparations to Vietnam, which they never actually followed through on. And that's why they actually created the POW-MIA movement. But that's a totally different story. When it comes to European partners, at least, yes. When it comes to the global south that we dominate and destroy, no. Look at Haiti. Haiti literally was forced to pay reparations after the successful Haitian Revolution to France. Vietnam did not get their reparations either. They made up a totally fake, nonsensical bullshit reason for why they could not pay reparations to Vietnam after destroying that country for 20 years. Afghanistan never got reparations either after invading Afghanistan. And not only that, but also once we handed over the Afghan state back to the Taliban, we then also seized their assets that we were maintaining to the tune of billions of dollars. We froze their assets. Biden did that, by the way, the Afghan thing. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. The major difference here, I would say, is that Ukraine is a European nation. That's what's so unique about the new phase of American empire, is that we are doing this to our Eastern European allies. Remember the difference, like America after the war on terror that destroyed the Middle East, turned around and had the audacity to say, look at what Russia is doing. This is so different. This is so different than like what we've seen before. This is a European country that's being destroyed. What is this, Syria? This is not Syria. You can't just destroy Eastern European nations like this. So for a lot of people in Europe, the dynamic is different. That's why the way that they presented it in the initial phases was the burning of the Eiffel Tower, things of that nature, like all those ads that they had.
Pay.
Do you agree,
This
President
is a rule.
Trump?
Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know.
Please, wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and Ukraine or on the Ukraine side.
I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
One more question about U.S. troops in Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country. Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. They, as you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltic?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about Baltic, the Baltic?
Dude, that's a crazy thing to say next to Zelensky. Yeah, Poland is in a very tough neighborhood. I'm sorry, dude, but that's the only thing stopping any kind of empire action coming from Russia at this stage is just straightforward their inability to do so. Okay? That's it. They just can't do it militarily. I mean, look, they with enough American weapons and American training and Western weapons and Western training, they did successfully stop the further incursion of Russia. Every step of the way, there should have been a ceasefire and a security assurances, a ceasefire, and normalization of relations, all this stuff. But goddamn, dude, it is. I said this before. Like, America will just fucking sell you down the river every single time. Holy moly!
The Baltics, they got a lot of. It's a tough neighborhood.
Why Russia with ceasefire? What do you mean, dude? Do you think that like there is no attrition on the Russian side? Like, are we crazy? Is that what you think is going on? This is why I said the end of this ceasefire. If Ukraine had more people that they could just like throw into the front lines, I don't think Donald Trump would be pushing for a ceasefire like this. I think that Donald Trump, well, no one would be pushing for a ceasefire in the way that Trump is pushing for a ceasefire. But if the end of this has always, the end of whatever happens in Ukraine was always going to be dictated by the front lines. Okay, that's it.
But we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize, because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal. You understand that? Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between, why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe? With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have. And I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
please go ahead.
What changed between the first time that Secretary of Defense, President Zelensky, the agreement, and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
What was the difference?
I'm
Was there a
just,
deciding factor? Or was
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed.
A lot of those minerals.
I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, when and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know,
under
but
these
well, they
circumstances?
don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay, they do not like each other. This is not a love match, and it's,
I wonder if people will recognize why I say America bad all the time and then describe the steps in great detail as to why America bad in terms of foreign policy all the time. Maybe they'll come to that conclusion as it's unfolding in front of our eyes. You know what I mean? This is literally the 20-year process between like Afghan Civil War, Operation Cyclone, Afghan Civil War, USSR invasion of Afghanistan, and then all the way to 9/11, except it's happening in a matter of years, like in such a shorter time frame.
it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay? The United States, run by a man that didn't know much, I'm going to be very nice, run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
Sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that.
I wish Zelensky would question Trump with, then why are you giving money to Israel? Dog, do you want them to kill him? Like in the room. He's not going to say that. What are you, crazy? By the way, a big part of why this also accelerated, a big part of like America's allegiances with Ukraine kind of fell apart, even under the Brandon administration, is directly because we shifted our priority and our resources, which are at the end of the day finite. Okay, it's not infinite, it's vast, but our resources are still finite. We've switched our priority to Israel.
Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States.
He'll only
because this
use
is not
Israel
a
as an
war
example
between
of like
Russia and
what
the
should
United
happen to
States.
Ukraine.
This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the anyway will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending the line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they helped us.
Oh, look at his face.
Also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers, it doesn't matter, do you have ocean or not, your soldiers will fight.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kiev or Odessa, which is going to be a third year of the Black Sea?
It was my question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No,
and a lot of
things
have
Mr.
happened.
President, you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult, sometimes closer to front line. Children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. He lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So.
Mr. President, when did you last speak
on the minerals deal.
Mr. President, when did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good, and I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him. So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claimed repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and was not engaged in censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worse, pressuring
get these fucking people out of this room, bro.
On its behalf. How can he be a reliable?
Dude, it's a clown show. It's a fucking clown show, dude. This is the most serious. Like, this guy is this a TikToker? Like, who the fuck is this guy? Why are there podcasters in this fucking room, man? What are they doing? This is a very serious conversation that is supposed to be taking place right now. And you got a bunch of fucking right-wing podcast dudes being like, oh, Mr. President, DEI equals die, don't you think? Like, what is going on? What the fuck? He's like, Keir Starmer said that he was, in favor of free speech, but he's actually killing Christians. What are your thoughts on that?
Trustworthy partner when
you can't be serious, yo. Bro said thought crimes, dude. Thought crimes. Like, this is Sargon of Akkad now in the press pool, okay? What the fuck is going on? I'm losing my mind, dude. I mean, this is next level. It's always been non-contentious for the most part, but goddamn, we have moved into the next level here, okay? In terms of like how insane and how devolved American foreign policy is, how insane and how removed from reality we have become.
Says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic.
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made at Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one, that what unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
JD? Look, it's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday. And I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country, and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President,
oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see. We're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG? as part of the deal, or is
No.
that on the table at all?
No.
Some of those
We don't need that.
Some of those
President, I
minerals
just
are in
wanted
the
to ask
east,
you
Mr.
about,
President.
You just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you were
I've
talking
spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest
Well,
there?
we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about. So we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian
They'll
forces,
be protected.
European
The agreement
forces?
will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah. We're signing an agreement. You know?
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots? What would
I
you do
just
then?
told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why
You know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions.
why you have confidence that Putin won't violate
Focus
a deal?
on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive.
People will ask
let's
why you have
go.
confidence Putin won't violate the deal.
He's dunking on CNN as an institution.
Russian
Like, that is...
control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous...
yeah, I wonder why he hates Putin, man. Come on. Dude, what the fuck? Zelensky, why do you hate Putin? Why won't you align? Why won't you align with him? You fool. Marco looks like a little kid after his first communion, waiting to take pictures after Mass. Yeah. Little Marco is sitting there just being like, I never, I wish, I wish that I always dreamed of getting to this position. I just never thought that the monkey's paw would, curl and offer this position to me under this administration. You know what I mean? He could have been doing this shit for Jeb Bush, okay? He could have been doing this for Jeb Bush, which the outcome overall would not be all that different. It's just that he wouldn't have to sit there and have to play catch up and have to play defense for Trump's insane, unforced errors over and over again.
Tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years...
Shut up! Shut the fuck up! Who are you? Who the hell? Who brought this man here? I don't know who this guy is. Do you guys know who this guy is? I have no idea. Who is this man? Whose mans is this? Who is this? Oh, my lolly looking ass motherfucker. Who is this guy?
In the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending.
Okay, by the way, the reason, I'm dunking on Jorkin the penis Vance over here, but, Jedediah Vance. But this would be the normal Republican way of having this conversation. And even then, it wouldn't even go this far into like dunking on Zelensky. But if you want to understand what like the normal Republican position would look like, it would be much closer to what J.D. Vance is saying and very far away from the way Trump is presenting it, because he, after all, is, you know, Peter Thiel's blood boy and still is supposed to be the normalcy force in the admin.
That the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy.
But because he's still glazing Trump, he's going to still, you know, obviously say some unhinged shit in a second.
What President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. He occupied it, our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Dude, it also is kind of shocking. I do still sometimes get surprised by how little Trump knows. And one of the funniest parts of this was when he literally said, like, what is AUKUS? Like the other day. Bro, you were the president for 4 years. You're the president again. Yesterday, a journalist asked what's the latest on AUKUS, and he didn't know what it was. And this is yet another moment where he's like 2014, 2015. Well, I wasn't president. Like that is truly incredible.
yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this.
You should be thanking the president. God damn, dude. God damn.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is.
He's like, I'm on Reddit. He's like, excuse me, I've watched it. I've watched and seen the stories. By the way, this is where Republicans are OP. Okay, can you imagine Kamala Harris saying some shit like this? Not about Zelensky, but like about when a reporter says like, why haven't you been to the border? And she turns around and goes like, I have watched and seen stories on Instagram. Like they would literally make shish kebab out of her. Republicans would just destroy her. But when Republicans say it, it's like when Republicans say it, everyone's like, hell yeah. That's pure projection of strength, sir. That's right.
Bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have
and do you think that it's respectful
to
come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Oh man, it's getting contentious.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influenced.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad
very
position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
Like what? They're mad that what? Like Ukrainian soldiers could not survive getting shot or getting shelled. Like, is that what the problem is here? Like, how are you gonna get mad at this dude, bro? Beyond the fact that it's pure partisanship. Okay, that's it. Ukraine backed the wrong partisan horse in this process. And for Trump, who is a simpleton, it is not seen as like a uniparty objective for the State Department and for the military industrial complex. For him, it's just like Ukraine is a libtard shit, okay? Ukraine is liberal nonsense. I don't care. And they also did not help me when I demanded that they give me blackmail on Joe Biden. So now you're cooked. I will never forgive and I will never forget. That's his assessment here. But I think that is, yeah, Kissinger quote moment, Hassam is right. Okay. What did Kissinger say? It's bad to be America's enemy, but it's really bad to be America's ally. Doors open. It's fatal to be America's ally. Some along those lines. To be America's enemy can be quite dangerous, but to be America's ally is fatal. It wasn't Henry Kissinger that said that, but it's the shit that they attribute to his foreign policy. Obviously, he would never, I don't think he would openly say that. Kissinger is the reason why the quote is true. I think Kurt Cobain said that. Wait, I don't know who actually said it, but Kim Jong never getting done like this. I'm dying. Brother. This is, I think this is all theater for Trump to justify giving Ukraine weapons. But then he looks cowardly. He looks like he backed away. He got pushed aside by Zelensky. You will feel in time, is Zelensky threatening the U.S.? No, I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to do the Israel line. You know, Israel is the first line of defense against scary Muslims. Okay? That's why it's a very important ally for us. Same goes for Ukraine. Ukraine is the first line of defense against scary Russian forces overtaking the entirety of Europe. Communism, that sort of thing. Okay, it just doesn't work this way. It doesn't matter when Donald Trump sees it as a purely partisan issue when it's not. It's a bipartisan process for America. Like, under normal circumstances, this conversation would not be as contentious because the contentious moments would be behind closed doors. It would not be in front of a press pool. Okay. I need you to understand this. The major difference here is Donald Trump is actively being like, I don't give a fuck about soft power. I don't give a fuck about diplomacy. I don't even care about making it seem as though I'm in line with like Ukrainian emancipation or any of those interests. I don't care about the morality of it. I'm America. You're going to shut the fuck up and you're going to do my bidding. Okay? JD misunderstood his point and thought it was a slight at him, and now he's trying to be a tough boy. Because like he was already doing ass kissing. He thanked over and over again the Trump administration. Like, what more can he do? What more can he do? Under normal circumstances, these contentious moments, like Nikki Haley would never call Zelensky a dictator. President Nikki Haley wouldn't have this moment. But if you think President Nikki Haley would not also actively work on the mineral deal, okay, and actively work to seize more Ukrainian assets, you'd be wrong. That's precisely the reason why Biden was also trying to cut those deals as well. But this difference in attitude, this openness about American ruthlessness, this openness for American brutality is a change of pace, and it's not simply left alone on the optics front. This actually means that America is just no longer trying to even do soft power under the Trump administration.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to you,
Far more than a lot of people said they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you
Oh.
once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in
Oh.
October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Oh.
Please, you think that if you will...
Bro, they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him, dude. Dude, I'm telling you right now. Okay, look. I think I think he's going to go back and some fucking Azov freak is just going to kill him with a black sun tattoo, and then they're going to be actively aligned with the Trump admin. I don't know how that allegiance works, but this is insane, dude. This is actually insane. They're just going to let it happen. First of all, I need you to understand. Right now, the entire coalition forces within Ukrainian boundaries are kept together because they all want to actively fight against Russia. Okay? Understandably. But it's not like these guys are all fond of one another. Zelensky is Jewish. Okay? There's a lot of fucking neo-Nazi forces out there who have gotten even more radicalized in the process, understandably, as when you get invaded, as I correctly predicted, you don't end up denazifying a country, you end up Nazifying the country. The most nationalist paramilitaries will be seen as the bravest, boldest warriors, the emancipatory forces. I'm worried that one of them is just going to fucking murk this dude. Like, all you're doing in this circumstance by undermining Zelensky this way is making him lose his position of prominence on the Ukrainian side of politics. It's ridiculous. Oh, literally everyone is uniting because of this. Ukraine is fully behind him. If everyone kills him as Putin with USA intel, literally everyone is uniting because of this. We'll see. I hope not. Putin never said he was denazifying Ukraine. Yes, he did. What are you talking about? He said it over and over again. It was fucking bullshit.
Speak very loudly about the war.
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait
answer?
a minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and your
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West?
If you didn't
You
have our
invited
military
me.
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like.
God damn. This is crazy. This is the craziest shit. I think this might be the craziest moment of the Trump administration so far, and it will most likely be topped tomorrow or the day after. We're a month and 8 days in. We are 1 month and 8 days in to the motherfucking Trump admin, dude. This is insane. We're not even 2 months in. This is 1 month in, dude. I don't think any heads of state has been put through anything this humiliating since Genghis Khan put kings in cages while fucking their wives and daughters in front of them. I mean, this is a shockingly bad display. A shockingly bad display. It is an active cuckening happening in real time.
Like this, I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand,
over there.
sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I
on
know.
soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take.
Like, even if this conversation was taking place behind closed doors, where Ukraine basically got geared up with all of the European support that it got into thinking that there is like still a process where they can continue defending the existing Ukrainian territory, and maybe even cut side deals with European allies to forcibly send back the Ukrainian men, like the refugees that live in Europe, in an effort to, you know, basically bring up their ranks so that they can utilize the existing weapons that are being shipped in from the pre-existing security cooperations, pre-existing weapons deals. Okay? Even if that was the case, even if there was a back and forth for that reason, behind closed doors, the fact that this is happening in broad daylight in front of a fucking press pool, live streamed to the entire world, is legitimately shocking. Now, every single European leader, understandably, is going to come out against Donald Trump and come out in favor of Zelensky in this process. But ultimately, considering America's position as the leader of the Western coalition, the Western forces, as the hegemonic superpower, all of those leaders have actively said, we will defend Ukraine, but it doesn't really matter, because if America doesn't actually follow through on security commitments, then us sending forces will not do anything. Keir Starmer has said that. I don't know if the EU in and of itself, especially when Trump is also looking to make Europe poorer with its fucking tariffs, is going to be able to have active security commitments that they follow through on with Ukraine without American military support. Do you understand? Like, all of this stuff makes it seem as though if you guys have a bit of guts, you would say something to Trump and Vance. No, exactly. Dude, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I feel like Trump is just like, I don't know how Trump is going to dig himself out of this in terms of like American standing with the rest of America's vassal states in Western Europe. Like, how do you fix this? How do you go back and if all you do in the Trump admin, the reasonable heads in the Trump admin, the reasonable hawks in the Trump admin are constantly playing catch up and playing defense for the insane shit that Trump says, you can get away with that when it's in the direction of American foreign policy in terms of saying like, no, I'm going to do ethnic cleansing in Gaza. You can say that if you're Trump, and then Steve Witkoff will come out and be like, he didn't mean it. What he actually meant was, we're bringing our Arab allies to be more active participants in the rebuilding of Gaza. Like, look, that's why he said that. Like, you can kind of defend that because the Gazan population is voiceless, vulnerable, and being ethnically cleansed by Israel, our ally. But when you turn around and renege on all of the economic harm that you put Europe through by forcibly telling them to cut their existing energy deals that they had with Russia as a consequence of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, okay? And then turning around and being like, actually, fuck all of that. Fuck you guys. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to say about it? Like, what is Europe going to do? What can Europe do? Let's say they want to rebuild their own militaries. There is so much runway. There is at least a decade of industrial buildup that must happen for them to actually get to a point where they can competently defend Ukraine or even themselves without the United States of America. Okay? They've existed under the security blanket, under the American security blanket, and have, existed as functionally vassal states. It would at least take 5 years, if not a decade, okay? Like, the second largest standing military in NATO after the United States of America is not France or Germany or any number of different countries. France's NATO allegiances have always been on shaky ground regardless. It's fucking Turkey. It's not Poland. It's Turkey. That's the second largest military in NATO. It's Turkey. And we all know the Turkish-European relations, okay? It's just like, this is totally insane.
Take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't
this
with me.
means.
That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with
Bro, I'm serious. I'm serious right now, straight up. If I'm a European leader, I'm learning Mandarin, okay? Straight up, as quickly as possible, okay? Ursula von der Leyen, time to learn Chinese, buddy, okay? Straight up. Like, how the fuck would I'm learning Mandarin pronto, okay? It's time to go to the Chinese league, all right? The NBA is not cutting it. You're not cutting it in the NBA. Get ready to learn Chinese, Ursula von der Leyen. EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kasia Kallas says, Ukraine is Europe. We stand by Ukraine. We will step up our support to Ukraine so that they can continue to fight to back the aggressor. Today it became clear that the free world needs a new leader. It's up to us, Europeans, to take the challenge. Hasanabi Doctrine, part 2. I will cop to this. I will cop to one thing. I did not think that Donald Trump would actually actively undermine NATO. And I think he is doing that. Okay. I think this is, and I think he's not even doing that because he just has like a legitimate plan to dismantle NATO piece by piece. I think he's doing that because he just keeps flying off the fucking handles here. And he does not know how to behave like a normal politician. Straight up, pure ego, and also dick riders that are supposed to be the normalizing voice in the room. But even he's got the long red tie. Look at him. He looks like it looks like Bring Your Child to Work Day. He just looks like a fucking fatter Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. in the room and not coked out.
President. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama.
I've often made fun of France because obviously, you know, they deserve it. But goddamn, dude, making sure that you have your own nuclear arsenal and pulling out of NATO before and having a consistently contentious relationship with NATO. What did they know? What did they know? Okay. Yeah. What did they know?
Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards. It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that.
By the way, low-key, Hasanabi Doctrine, don't give up the nukes, is literally the reason why this is happening. I know that you'll say, oh, those were USSR's nukes. They didn't have the active launch codes or anything like that. Yada, yada, yada. Doesn't matter. Okay? Don't give up the nukes. You know what the Hasanabi Doctrine is. But I will repeat it for those of you who do not know. Okay? Don't give up the nukes. Don't ever give up the nukes. And if the United States of America says you have nukes, then you better fucking find nukes immediately. Okay? Rule 1, get nukes. Rule 2, do not give up the nukes. Rule 3, if you're accused of having nukes, drop everything immediately and find some nukes. Straight up. Under different circumstances, this is supposed to happen behind closed doors. Like there's a reason for why there's a reason for why this kind of stuff happens behind closed doors, is because you actively are dismantling a very important part of your foreign policy strategy. Remember, what do I always say? 800 military bases without soft power will turn into 800 military invasions. Okay? With soft power, 800 military bases are a part of a security cooperation. Without soft power, 800 military bases is no longer a part of a broader security cooperative agreement, but instead 800 different invasions. Okay? And I don't think this was a well thought out thing that Donald Trump did. He's just a narcissistic child. And instead of like actively trying to push Ukraine into some kind of negotiated ceasefire where they will put an end to this bloodshed, he is undermining the own ceasefire agreement that he could have possibly put together. So he's getting in his own way this way as well. Background of what just went down per White House official. After the contentious Oval Office meeting that played out in front of reporters, Zelensky and the Ukrainians went into a separate room, standard, while Trump huddled with his advisors. At that point, Trump decided that he didn't feel Zelensky was ready to negotiate and that the conversation wouldn't be productive, the official said. Trump posted a statement on Truth Social, and then Rubio and Walz then informed Zelensky that he was being asked to leave and the negotiations were over for the day. The White House official added that this was not planned in advance or part of a broader strategy, but just simply how the day played out. Oh my God. I truly thought that what would have happened today initially was just like they get, they do a little back and forth and then they sign the fucking mineral agreement. And then, a week later, Trump comes out with the, continued support for Ukraine tweet, whatever the fuck, while also simultaneously saying, but obviously Ukraine's manpower is exhausted and we want to put an end to this. But the weapons transfers that we are going to engage with are obviously going to be a part of a long-standing security assurance for Ukraine as we, pick it apart for scraps. That's what I thought would have happened. And I think that's what was supposed to happen. But, fucking Donald Trump is insane. Zelensky didn't read the room. It's his fault. No, dude. No. That is crazy. Putting this on Zelensky is insane. I'm sorry. You are out of your fucking mind, dude. What are you, Lindsey Graham? No. There is nothing he could have done in that situation. Nothing. This is madness. I think Trump associates Brandon with Ukraine so much that he might just leave them on the dust. I think there are still larger powers at play here. For example, the military-industrial complex and what kind of benefits they get out of this, or even foreign capital. If that actually gets in the way of, I don't know, foreign capital extracting these resources from Ukraine, then they're not going to like that. They're going to tell Trump to back down. They're going to tell Trump to come back to the table. If Ukraine has the capacity to defend itself, or at least has enough manpower to continue this for at least a little bit longer, then we'll use it. We'll pump it. We'll pump it with weapons. Because those weapons aren't going there for true emancipatory purpose. That much is clear. It's going there because it's a way for the military-industrial complex to continue making money. I mean, it was crazy. Like the reason why he had to do this, by the way, the reason why he had to get humiliated like this by not just Trump, JD Vance, but also that fucking baboon from One America News Network or whatever, who was like, "Why don't you wear a suit? Do you own a suit?" Like all that stuff is ridiculous. Like it's a ritualistic humiliation that you're not supposed to put your ally through. It's especially if you have any interest in maintaining any kind of diplomacy or any kind of soft power whatsoever. He was not humiliated. Why would you use that word, Lamau? He was not humiliated? Are you on crack? What are you talking about? What do you mean? It wasn't even Trump yelling at him. It was a random fucking Newsmax guy. Are you kidding me? If he was not humiliated, think about whether or not this conversation would take place with Benjamin Netanyahu, okay? Put Benjamin Netanyahu in that position. You know what happens to that fucking journalist? He gets assassinated, okay? Can you imagine? Bro, you are so close to being a cuck. What? Absolutely not. He stood his ground. Trump is an absolute bitch and pathetic. If he just sat there, yes, then that would have been humiliating. Dude, what are you saying? I'm not saying that Trump is not fucking pathetic and narcissistic and also humiliating in and of itself. Do you not understand how this shit works? Look at what Donald Trump has done for Benjamin Netanyahu, and then look at the way he treats Zelensky. Very funny, though. If you've never had to fight for anything, then yes, that's what you're doing to think. Very funny, though, sweetie. Oh, my God. Okay. Donald Trump literally pulled the chair out for Benjamin Netanyahu and pushed it in. Okay? Think about that. In terms of America behaving like this, they should never behave like this to anyone, really. Okay? They were yelling at him, and JD Vance directly said, "Why don't you say thank you?" After Zelensky had said thank you like 1,000,000 times over. The fuck do you mean that's not humiliating? The most humiliating aspect of it also is, on top of everything else, The fact that the fucking court jester gets to have a line of attack against the leader of a foreign nation. Like, what are you talking about? An ally, a foreign ally. What do you mean? They still think you're anti-Ukraine instead of explaining that them trying to humiliate Zelensky was disgusting. I have already mentioned that. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, yeah, Zelensky maintaining his dignity in that process doesn't change the reality that he was absolutely shitted on the public stage by the American government, dude. What are you talking about? And there was virtually nothing he could have done in that process, too. It was insane. It was the most insane thing that I've ever watched America do. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Trump and Vance should be apologizing to Zelensky for their U.S. role in bringing the war about, or not even fucking ending it. Like, that's the other side of this. Like, this is an extension of Biden. Like, they still own Biden's mistakes. The fact that Trump turns around and says, like, nah, that was Biden's shit. Fuck you. And also, you're at fault for being invaded is crazy. Okay? That's why I kept repeating the point over and over again. Like, the idea that Ukraine deserved to be invaded or is responsible for its own invasion by Russia is psychotic. And yeah, here are the fucking dumbass Republicans presenting it. Look at this. J.D. Vance and Trump just put Zelensky in his place. Wow, watch this. Now he's over here thanking every country, every foreign nation's leader individually on Twitter. Can confirm the White House is letting in a reporter from Russian state news agency TASS to cover the... What the fuck? Reuters and Associated Press was excluded from the meeting, but TASS was there? That's trolling. He's trolling. That's fucking insane, dude. And they've officially ended the energy grid restoration. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to post it again. Imagine it was Klitschko instead of Zelensky and he lights him up with a right hand after talking to him like that. I don't condone violence, but that would feel special. Okay, dude, you're out of your mind. They would kill him on the spot. They would literally riddle his body with bullets. What are you talking about? Watch Musk turn off Starlink next. Yeah, it's probably what's going to happen too. Dude, we are officially in the dear leader praise stage, dude. Holy fuck. Every single person. Lindsey Graham loves the idea of continuing the death and destruction as long as his favored weapons contractors can get a better deal overall. Okay? And now he's over here talking about how Donald Trump is actually the GOAT and that, yeah, here, this is what wait, hold on. This is what Lindsey Graham said before the meeting. Let's take a look. And then I'll show you what he said after, okay? After Donald Trump was like, fuck you, Zelensky.
I'm off to the White House soon. I had a call with President Trump last night. He invited me to the signing of the critical minerals deal between Ukraine and the United States. Met with President Zelensky this morning. He's very excited. This is $500 billion that will enormously benefit the American economy. Ukraine is the richest country in Europe when it comes to critical minerals. These minerals are necessary for us to compete and win the 21st century economy. President Trump was very excited. President Zelensky is very excited about this economic deal. $500 billion, folks, is a big deal. This is Donald Trump, the deal maker and peacemaker on display. I'm off to the White House.
Yep. Yeah, he sure did. He sure showed that. Mr. Peacemaker. Klobuchar and Graham, really good bipartisan meeting before President Zelensky heads to the White House. We stand with Ukraine. Yeah, great stuff. Oh my God. This is completely psychotic. All right, let's see what the fuck CNN is saying, I guess. Here. This was so Zelensky, a Jewish comedian leading an angry and historically anti-Semitism prone country, returns to war ravaged Ukraine, haven't been publicly humiliated by the military's main sponsor, says Mark Ames. But here is, I think, undermining Zelensky in this situation without an alternative that you have in mind is insane. Okay? Like, if this was a more competent administration, I would at least say that there is like a reason why they're doing this, because they have another guy. Because like previous administrations used to do that. America is sauceless, okay, in terms of how it used to operate back in the day. Like the Democrats tried to do this with Benjamin Netanyahu, if you recall. They brought in the alternative. They brought in what's his face? Was it Benny Gantz? Did they bring in it was Benny Gantz, right? That they brought in, and they were like, oh, this is our guy. If things fall apart with Benjamin Netanyahu, like, this is going to be our guy. This is going to be the liberal Zionist position. This is the horse that we're going to back. Okay? With Zelensky, I don't even know if they have an alternative in mind. You know what I mean? It's wild. Socialist Hassan has run more ads in the tragic comedy that is the United States news. I am the clown. What? I don't run any ads, chatter. What are you talking about? I literally don't run ads. As soon as my contract ended, I have not run a single ad since my contract ended. Are you hallucinating ads that you're seeing on the broadcast? True, I am wrong. I just recently joined Twitch. Yeah. No, people still subscribe at the top of the hour or in the middle of the hour due to their own interest in supporting the show. And you can as well for $6 or for free with the Twitch Prime. Having said that, no, I don't run ads any longer. But if you subscribe, you can get emotes and also the opportunity to be able to send me links if you would like to do so. But that's it. Back in the day, people would subscribe because subscribing also gave you the opportunity to stop seeing ads when I had to run them. But since my contract ended, I have not run ads at all. Virtually everything I do is not only free, but I don't even monetize it in terms of like, you have the opportunity to be able to go and clip shit from this stream and make your own content. Make your own content and make money off of it if you choose to do so. Jaeger Larson, thank you for the 100 community gifted subs. Let's continue.
I think complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelensky this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night.
Is he a baby? I mean, the answer is yes. But like, what do you mean? Oh, he was in a good mood last night, and there you go, you ruined it. Like, what a psychotic way to do foreign policy, dude. You're on the whims of a toddler. That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting.
That is psychotic, dude. America burns allies regularly, but they don't burn allies on the whims of the one leader having a bad moment. Okay? We burn allies, but that's because they've run out of favor. They've fallen out of favor. It's time to kill them. Okay? 100% planned? No way, dude. I don't think this is I do not think this was planned. They did this on purpose, I swear. The only reason why I would ever entertain that this was planned was because J.D. Vance was the one who actually instigated it. And he is supposed to be the normal guy in the room. That is the only reason why I would ever entertain this, to cast aside the mineral deal or whatever, and basically put Ukraine on a back foot, and then act like, well, you know, our partnership is no longer working because Zelensky can't suck up enough or something.
The way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important.
I think you underestimate him and his admin. They have another guy. The other guy is Putin. This is not incompetence or accident or dementia. This is intention. Rest assured, it's all concerted. They're going to cut weapons to Ukraine, make Zelensky unpopular, force an election so Russia can install a pro-Russian puppet. How are the Russians reacting? Even they're shocked. The other day, we read from the Reuters report where they were like, initially, they were confused by how much Trump was glazing Russia. Today, Russia's Medvedev on the Trump-Zelensky meeting says, a brutal dressing down in the Oval Office. Trump told the cocaine clown the truth to his face for the first time. The Kyiv regime is playing with World War III, and the ungrateful pig got a hard slap from the masters of the pigsty. That's how Russia is reacting. The reason for why America does whatever it does in terms of foreign policy is not for moral reasons, okay? It's never for moral reasons. Whether we're on the right side of an invasion or oftentimes on the wrong side of an invasion that oftentimes we are responsible for directly, or we are the ones doing the invasion, it doesn't matter. It's all so that American executives in the military-industrial complex can get better contracts and more money. Okay? It's always about money. It's resource extraction, and it's always about money. Our allegiance with Ukraine was on those exact same boundaries. Is China number one now? I'm not saying nothing.
Important, vitally important. But can Zelensky do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know. What did I think?
Like, dude, he is such an asshole, dude. He is such a piece of shit. Jesus Christ. Lindsey Graham, over the course of multiple administrations, has probably goaded Ukraine more than any other politician. Okay? Under the Biden administration, under the Obama administration, like he's Mr. Security Assurances guy. And then he turns around and the first sight of Trump being like, yeah, fuck you, I don't like you. He goes, yeah, you suck, Zelensky. What is he supposed to do? It's crazy. I'm telling you, America burns assets. Ukraine is a proxy. America burns proxies and burns assets and discards them voluntarily whenever they're done with it, right? Whenever they want to change trajectory, change the course of foreign policy, move in a different direction, whatever, okay? But they don't burn assets just because one guy felt offended in that heat of the moment, because there's a lot of money involved in burning an asset. That's what doesn't make sense here. President Trump personally decided to end talks with Ukrainian President Zelensky after the tense exchanges. Yeah, we already covered this side. The White House then posted this, by the way, which was also insane. He disrespected the United States of America in his cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he's ready for peace. President Donald J. Trump. This is what they posted. I think a lot of Americans are going to realize, by the way, or at least a lot of liberals are going to realize that, like, one, obviously Republicans only listen to Donald Trump and Donald Trump only, and two, they never really give a fuck about Ukraine regardless. Yes, Zelensky has an interview with Fox at 6 p.m. Eastern time, which is 3 p.m. our time, in an hour and a half, or in an hour, basically. But yeah, here was the Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. watching Trump and Zelensky argue. Trump also made a statement on Truth Social. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I've determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in his cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he's ready for peace. That's where we're at. And also, yeah, Zelensky turned her, I mean, not Zelensky. Lindsey Graham also said this idiotic thing on Fox News right after as well. Moscow is more terrified than ever. Yeah, Moscow is terrified at the ropes that they're fucking deploying right now. They're jerking off and they're shocked at how much they can get away with. Like, come on, dude. What do you mean?
I said there's two ways to look at this.
Yeah, they're terrified because they've never nutted this hard before. They're like, I cannot believe that I had this level of rope in me.
Your interaction with Zelensky was maybe the best television I've ever seen. But it's deeper than that. The world is now watching how Trump behaves and acts when he's pressed. I thought he stood up for America, that we're a good people. We want to help you, but we're going to be respected. So I think Moscow is probably more afraid of Trump than ever. Hope the Chinese are, and I hope the Iranians are. As to Zelensky and Ukraine.
Make no mistake, okay? In terms of the conditions on the battlefield, I will reiterate what I have said for the past year at this point. Ukraine, it cannot keep mounting a significant defense. A ceasefire should have been designed and talked about under the Biden administration in a more competent manner. Okay? So in terms of bringing Vladimir Putin, Adolf Hitler to the table, a lot of people are still operating on what the liberal administration was pumping out in terms of pro-Ukrainian propaganda that misinformed a lot of people. Okay? That part is true. The time for negotiations and a ceasefire was years ago. Okay? But it's yesterday, it's tomorrow, it's whenever it can happen. Having said that, however, what Donald Trump is doing is insane, because Donald Trump is just basically handing Ukraine over on a fucking silver platter, and also undermining his own ambitions, supposedly to create a ceasefire. Okay? That's it. And here, I'm not alone in this. Here is from Jake Tapper. One pro-Ukraine expert, normally supportive of Zelensky, offered me this perspective. One pro-Ukraine expert, normally supportive of Zelensky, cautions that today's showdown should be seen in a clear-eyed way. Ukraine is losing this war, the expert says. Russia is making tens of thousands of drones per month, and Ukraine can't shoot them all down. Russia is making advances because Russia doesn't value human life and is okay to lose thousands of men a day. Ukraine can't keep up with that and shouldn't. There needs to be an end to this war, and there are only three ways out. One, America send military weapons and manpower, and potentially this starts World War III. Two, Ukraine can surrender and give in to Putin. Or three, we give this ceasefire plan and deal that Trump is pushing a chance. I would go for option three. Trump was talking about Ukraine getting land back that it has lost just yesterday. Zelensky knew the position of the Trump administration ahead of time. Perhaps this meeting was a trap, but it's one Zelensky could have easily avoided. I don't agree with this last part of this equation, for the record. I think the last part of this is silly. I don't think Zelensky could have avoided this. Like, there's nothing he could have done to glaze Donald Trump even further. I don't agree with that aspect. But even you got pro-Zelensky, pro-Ukraine analysts actively changing how they communicate about the conditions on the battlefield. Okay? Like, that part is the unchangeable, cold, hard reality. If Ukraine had more manpower right now, Donald Trump would be sending weapons too. Isn't this what you said 2 years ago that at the start of this invasion? How could you have predicted this? Don't even get me started on this shit, okay? This doesn't mean that Russia's forces have not diminished either. It is in Russia's interest to also come to terms with a ceasefire. Make no mistake. Because of the costly battle on the Ukrainian front lines that now are happening 20% into Ukrainian territory that Russia has basically permanently annexed and mined into oblivion, and not mining like in the way that you get raw earth minerals, mining as in like landmines. Okay? Like, Russia's not doing too great in this process either. So it's in the best interest for every single party involved to immediately come to the negotiations. Russia's forces are in the best shape since pre-war, literally massively trained, huge armament production levels, also huge recruitment drives yielding recruits. Not even a general draft or anything has happened. I mean, yes, they tuned up their war machine. They're also a much larger country. I don't think that they're doing great, though. I don't agree with. That chatter is not correct either. This is, I think, what a lot of analysts have also actively, in more honest moments, openly recognized, that this is a propaganda war as well. That's why it's so hard to get like an accurate assessment of the casualty numbers on either side. Both sides keep saying, oh, we're doing amazing. Okay? It is in their best interest to do so. Vladimir Putin is, of course, always going to say, dude, our military is so sick right now. Okay? It's so sick. We're doing so fantastic. Look at us. We're better than ever before. We love that, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people have had their fucking legs blown off and shit. It's so sick. Okay? And the same goes for Ukraine. Same predicament for Ukraine. Do you think Zelensky saw Macron correct Trump during the Oval Office meeting and try to pull the same thing himself in response to JD's comments? No. I think Zelensky has always been stuck between a rock and a hard place, the rock being Russia and the hard place being America and the Western and Western support. He obviously prefers Western support to Russia. That much is clear. Okay. Having said that, however, there's also additional motivations here. He is the fucking leader of Ukraine. He can't, sit there and eat it all day, every day. Especially when it's some insane shit that Trump is saying, like, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault that you got invaded. You know what I mean? Not so much anymore. Yeah, well, it does seem like they're moving in the direction.
Well, after that incredibly fiery and argumentative meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky, President Donald Trump has just issued a statement and he says the following: "We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. Donald Trump continues, I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America.
Okay, dude, that part is also crazy because it's like, without advantage, then you're just saying you just want to give Ukraine to Russia. Like, Putin's probably loving this. Yeah, no shit, he's loving this. This is the greatest thing that could have happened. Bro, he's outflanking the Russians. Donald Trump is outflanking the Russian coalition. He is giving Russians more than what the Russians even demanded. Where is the audio coming from? I don't know.
America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. You're looking at the door to the White House, the door that about an hour or so ago President Zelensky walked through, shook hands with President Trump. They then spoke for 50 minutes, and it was incredibly heated, argumentative, tense and fiery. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump telling Zelensky his comments were very disrespectful.
Yeah, a source familiar with the planning.
Don't tell us what we're...
A source familiar with the planning for the Trump meeting said that there was no predetermined strategy for Vance to confront Zelensky the way he did.
Going to feel you're in no position to dictate. We were expecting...
How did Zelensky even disrespect anything? Dude, he pissed Trump off. That's it. That's it. He didn't actually do anything to disrespect Trump or anybody else. He thanked them over and over again. That's it. That's why he was just in the way. Yeah, I've never seen Trump that angry.
A news conference between the two men and the signing of that minerals agreement. Will it happen? Let's find out. Our US correspondent Mark Stone is at the White House and has been monitoring that extraordinary conversation, Mark, inside the White House. Do you think the news conference with these two men that was scheduled will go ahead? Do you think the signing of this document, this deal, will go ahead?
No and no, Jonathan. This is an utterly extraordinary day here at the White House. The Ukrainian president's vehicle has just pulled up at the West Wing. You can see it behind me there, and he is expected to leave shortly. And you can see from President Trump's post statement a few moments ago that the falling out appears to be devastating in terms of how the day was supposed to go. The scene is set in the East Room of the White House. We were queuing up, ready to go into the East Room for what was due to be a signing ceremony. The tables were there, the pens were on the tables, everything was ready for it to be signed, for the deal to be signed, and a news conference was due to follow that. But after the scenes that we played you a few moments ago, which happened around about 40 minutes ago, everything appears to have fallen apart. And as you can see behind me there, there is a Marine waiting to open the door of the limousine, and into that we expect President Zelensky to get in and to drive off to who knows where now, because his day has been upturned. His presidency potentially has been upturned as well after a shouting match in the Oval Office. I can't remember, and I'm sure historians will be pouring their books to remember a time when we have seen such scenes in such a room, in the Oval Office of the West Wing of the White House.
Our correspondent David Blevins joins us now from Washington. David, completely extraordinary, these scenes, and now no press conference, no statement, no deal being signed. And in that Truth Social post, it was almost as if the president was scolding a naughty child, saying you can come back down from your room when you learn to behave.
Jonathan, a moment without precedent in living memory in the United States, where a meeting of two heads of states comes to an end in such a disastrous fashion.
The amount of disrespect President Zelensky showed to Donald Trump and the American people today was insane. This was a mistake. I have tremendous respect for President Zelensky for the heroic actions he took. Dude, this is levels of dick eating I did not previously think was possible. Okay?
Breaking news reverberating around the world.
I don't understand how they can eat dick this hard. Every centrist.
It devolved into a shouting match in the Oval Office, and tonight there are so many questions. Is this relationship?
God damn it,
What
CNN.
does it mean for a potential ceasefire deal between Ukraine and Russia? We are going to cover all of these angles. I'll be joined by our reporters in Ukraine and Russia in just moments. But first, we want you to watch the part of today's meeting when things went off the rails.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning. Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You will feel it. 9/11 too. You will feel 9/11
to solve
too.
a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering
position.
Oh, okay. Sorry. We interrupt this broadcast because the 5 is live and alive, and we have to see what those donkeys have to say about this. Jessica Tarkov is going to hit the lib line aggressively if she's on today.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
And indeed it was. President Trump kicking Zelensky out of the White House shortly after that, canceling their joint press conference. No rare minerals deal was signed, and the White House staffers, well, they eat the lunch that Trump and Zelensky were supposed to dine on. President Trump posting on Truth Social, it is amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved.
Chatter's being like, if I were Zelensky, I would have walked right away and called Europe. Dog, I'm not going to say anything. You're right. You're right. Europe will defend Ukraine on its
when
own.
He is ready for peace.
You're right.
And Zelensky will be talking to Brett Baier at 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight, just less than 1 hour from now. Jesse, this feels like one of those moments in history where we will all remember exactly where we were when we watched that go down. Now I'll ask you the question we're left wondering, will they get to a deal?
Hopefully. It's kind of like when you want to propose, so you go to the girlfriend's dad, you go into his house, can I have your blessing? And he goes, well, do you have any money for a ring? Nope. Do you have a job? Nope. Do you have a house? Nope. And then you start arguing with the dad and he kicks you out of the house and you go back to the girlfriend. The girlfriend's like, well, how did it go? Not good. It did not go very well. Zelensky screwed up. 30 minutes before this happened, everything was fine. Everyone was getting along fine. And then a reporter asked Trump about aligning with Russia. Trump says, I'm just aligned with America and I'm aligned with the world. And then Vance jumps in and he says, well, you know, you can talk tough and beat your chest, but that's not going to help us with diplomacy. And then Zelensky, out of nowhere, zeroes in on Vance. And he says, you don't know anything about diplomacy. What do you know about diplomacy? You can't negotiate with Putin. He can't be trusted. He violates ceasefires. Well, then what are we all doing here? Why did he fly all the way here to sign this mineral deal if you can't negotiate with Vladimir Putin? What's the whole point of this? We're not going to give Zelensky a security pact. It's not in America's interest to have to defend that country with American soldiers if Russia goes back in. The mineral deal is the best security that Zelensky's ever going to get. And if you didn't like the language of the deal,
if this conversation was supposed to happen, it was supposed to happen behind closed doors. That's all I'm stating, okay? The notion that this is supposed to happen this way in broad daylight is psychotic.
This is America's world. He's our proxy. This ends when we say it ends. It doesn't end when Zelensky, if he wants to go it alone, go it alone. I'm glad we helped him. Russia invaded. We got his back. At first, it was the right thing to do. But now it's not. Now the war's over, and he doesn't recognize it's over. And reality is going to eat this guy alive if he doesn't recognize this. If you were in the room when Roosevelt was telling Churchill to liquidate his colonies, I don't think it was all tea and crumpets. Or if you were Bush yelling at Musharraf when Al-Qaeda was in Pakistan, no. Or Bibi getting his ear chewed out by Joe Biden. This stuff happens all of the time behind the scenes. We were just lucky enough to have it happen right in front of the cameras.
You know, it was fascinating. Thank you for that, Jesse. Emily, when we were getting live reports from the White House, while Zelensky and Trump had finished this meeting, and we were waiting to see what happened next, Jackie Heinrich stepped up to the camera to give us a report and said she had learned that Zelensky was begging to stay but got kicked out. Shortly thereafter, we saw exactly that. We saw Zelensky very quickly after this concluded exiting the White House along with his staff.
Exactly. And to that point, there was a gap in time that was longer in reality than we saw on television because we had to ingest that footage, right? It wasn't live. So there was sort of a significant moment in between what we saw and Zelensky exiting the White House.
Okay, we will prediction alert. Do not, this is just simply my prediction. I think that this admin is actively working to at least draw a wedge between the Russian-Chinese allegiance, okay, and also shifting every single resource, every single dollar that is available, every single weapon that is available to Israel, for Israel to finish with a final solution, the Palestinian problem, the final solution to the Palestinian question, okay, so that they can focus on their number one agenda, which is war with China, okay? Which is interesting to think about because this was like a Vivek Ramaswamy, Tucker Carlson sentiment that I heard over and over again. And I think that this is precisely what they're trying to do. Now, will that actually work? Will they be able to drive a wedge between the Russian-Chinese allegiance at this stage? I do not know. I think this will be possibly a dangerous gamble that they're engaging in that will undermine their global position further. Okay? It's very stupid, but I don't think these guys are very smart. I think that is, I know that is what bad hypothesis. No, in terms of moving all of their attention to Israel, look at the dollars. Look at what's happening. The Trump-Vance State Department, literally, this is from 1:53 p.m. Okay, from Prem over at Zateo. This is a munitions support release sheet that came out in the form of a press release, like not even 20 minutes ago. The Trump-Vance State Department just approved $3 billion in arms and equipment sales to Israel. They're sending $2 billion in bombs. They're sending $675 million in bombs and weapons guidance kits. And they're sending $295 million in bulldozers. Okay? The admin said an emergency exists that require the immediate sale, waiving congressional review. It's not bombs and weapons guidance kits. $675 million in bombs. Weapons and bombs, bombs and weapons guidance kits. Isn't there a ceasefire? No, because the ceasefire is supposed to end. The ceasefire is supposed to get into the second phase, and there's only I don't know exactly how many days remain, but I think that there is. I don't know if there is going to be a second phase of that ceasefire. I think, from what I understand, it ends on the first day of Ramadan. I don't think that Israel will invade during Ramadan. I think that they will wait for the end of Ramadan, as they have declared. But in the process, they will gear up to re-invade. They will re-up and rearm. Okay? What did Elint News say? They will cancel all weapon shipments to Ukraine and send them straight to Netanyahu. That's what I'm thinking. This is what I mean when I say it's uniparty, by the way. Because the reason as to why the Biden administration also said, do whatever the fuck you want to Israel, basically, okay, was because they wanted to let Israel get one final big push and dominate the Palestinians to the best of their ability so they can pack up the Middle East problem, okay, and then move on to China. The weapons being sent to Israel are different than Ukraine, dude. You are on big conspiracy shit. Okay. Trump lost his cool, plain and simple. No, I'm saying that I recognize that. I also am mentioning that the reason why Trump lost his cool wasn't because it was like pre-planned or anything. I'm simply stating that Trump wants to get a ceasefire in Russia, Russia and Ukraine as quickly as possible so they can shift all of their priorities to Israel. Okay? Put me down? No. I'm shaking you. Let's get back to Fox and Friends.
And he walks in here and he's arrogant and he's pushy and he's demanding and you know you pile all that up and you're going to piss off Trump. And what we saw there was a pissed off Trump. So you have somebody, and it's been going on for a long time, where you have this person who is bilking the American taxpayers for hundreds of billion
Shadow said, I'm from Taiwan. What's the best country to immigrate to? Mainland China, big dog.
Our interest is over there.
Can I just add to that about the money and all this? Obviously, we have given them a ton of money, but 70% of the aid that we have sent to Ukraine has then been spent back in America. So when he, quote unquote, went and campaigned for the Democrats, that he was visiting a munitions factory that was producing weapons
take me with you if
Europe
you go.
Has been, as a share of GDP, almost doubling our investment.
So I'm not an economist, but the idea that you're going to take hundreds of billions of dollars of Americans' taxpayer dollars and light them on fire in Europe, I don't think that helps anybody. All it does is lead to inflation.
All right, save for the next block because we've got more on this coming up. President Trump is right now talking to reporters. It's happening as we speak after his dust-up with Zelensky, so we're going to have that for you next.
Oh, my God. How do you sit here and listen to these Fox News casters? Because you have to understand how the enemy is doing propaganda. What are you talking about? It is incredibly important. Fox News is way more informative about understanding the future trajectory of American foreign policy, understanding what Donald Trump is saying, understanding what Donald Trump supporters are going to say, than anything else. Why the fuck would I sit there and listen to CNN with Rahm Emanuel, dude? CNN's got Rahm Emanuel on. I'm sure he's going to have real good takes about all this. The Democrats have lost over and over again. Republicans are in charge. They're dominating everything. And they've also consolidated power in the hands of a narcissistic madman. So obviously, it's very important to understand how that narcissistic madman is going to operate. Jennifer Jacobs from CBS, senior White House reporter, says, from Bloomberg, says, high-level Trump sources tell me the White House is now uncertain if they can get the Russians and Ukrainians to stop fighting because this episode with Zelensky raised questions about whether he can move forward towards a peace deal. It also raises questions about whether the U.S. will pause aid to Ukraine. But Trump is not seeking regime change in Ukraine. No discussions about who in Ukraine might be a better leader than Zelensky. This is why I think it was pure happenstance, by the way. And he flew off the fucking handles. Because in the past, when America does shit like this, they have a person in mind to replace him. Even the Democrats put forth Benny Gantz as the alternative to Benjamin Netanyahu. It failed because obviously Bibi dominates American politics and has been doing this for almost as long as Joe Biden has been doing it, and doing it way more successfully than Joe Biden. So that never actually came to fruition. But the Republicans don't have a replacement for Zelensky. If they did, I would say, okay, J.D. Vance is doing this puppet thing where they know that Trump is going to fucking get mad and he's going to egg on Zelensky so that Zelensky says something and then Trump loses his mind and then they advocate for regime change. They don't have a regime change guy. People say, oh, it's Putin, but no, I don't think, that's not how this works, okay? It would not be Putin. It would be, the regime change guy would be someone who is Ukrainian, who is pro-Putin, okay? That's how you would normally do this. That is how America would normally do this if they were to actually entertain handing Ukraine on a silver platter to Vladimir Putin for some unforeseeable reason. I guess the only reason there would be, like I said, to draw a wedge between the Sino-Soviet allegiance, that not Soviet, but the Sino-Russian allegiances that have, been designed as a direct consequence of Western Empire activities. Yeah, Ukrainian officials have reached out this afternoon to senior White House officials desperate to get a deal back on track. But that will not happen today, I'm told. Trump is unwilling to talk to Zelensky further today. He's such a fucking baby, dude. It's crazy. It is actually crazy how much of a child he is. It is shocking. I cannot understand how much these guys are saying, like, I'm learning a lot about shit libs today. In their fever dreams, Zelensky interrupting or talking tough to Trump is their sole ideal. Constraints like weapons, bullets, diplomacy, etc. NATO are secondary. Only in their fever dream did Zelensky come out well from today's events. He didn't come out well, but there was nothing he could have done. MAGA people are mentioning the mayor of Kyiv to replace Zelensky. Okay, who cares what the MAGA people are saying? The administration is not saying that. That's what's important. When Rubio and Waltz went into Roosevelt Room to ask Zelensky to leave, Rubio made it clear that any further engagements today would be counterproductive. Waltz told Zelensky he had made a tremendous mistake and that it was a grave disservice to Ukraine and to Americans both. No phone calls between Trump and Putin have been scheduled, but multiple European officials have called top Trump officials since Zelensky left asking how the mineral deal can be salvaged. Trump says Zelensky wants to come back right now? What the fuck is going on? What is happening? Trump fully intended to sign the minerals deal today. Two official binders were prepared. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and his Ukrainian counterpart, the two presidents were going to sit at a conference table in the East Room and then trumpet their success at the podiums. But there were suspicions before Zelensky arrived today that it might fall apart because the Trump admin had been pushing for weeks for a minerals deal signing at the ministerial event. Or at the ministerial level, and Ukraine had refused. Zelensky wanted security guarantees. U.S. officials thought negotiations will be much harder with Putin, so today have been in disbelief that it has been Zelensky who has been more difficult, making maximalist demands, sources told me. Apparently, Trump is taking questions right now. Update. Trump says Zelensky wants to come back right now. Also update. Trump, I can't let Zelensky come back right now. What is happening? What the fuck? Just a straight up fucking clown show, dude. What the absolute fuck is going on, dude? Art of the deal, baby. Where's Trump live at? I don't even know. Is he on Right Side Broadcasting? Where is Donald Trump even live at this moment? Like, where is he at?
The weakness of your position.
NBC News is not talking about it. He's live on Kick. Where is he? He's taking questions live? Is it on Fox News? Let me see. Did I think something like this would happen so quickly? No.
And make endless demands and never say thank you. And it drove Joe crazy. And the same thing is happening here. I have a lot of respect for Zelensky. He's a brave guy.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Shut the fuck up.
But he's got no leverage anymore. The only leverage he has are minerals, and he doesn't even know how to use that leverage. He'll never be a NATO member. It's not in our interest for him to be a NATO member. And the fact that he was arguing with the president of the United States and the vice president in front of cameras,
and we want to be able also to spend
so much
this isn't live,
disrespect.
Dude. This is the earlier.
And he's like a freshman out there when you think about it. He doesn't really know what's happening. This war just hit him in the face, and he's trying to survive.
Wait, is this actually live? Is this the...
It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine.
Why are you defending Zelensky's honor? I don't give a fuck about Zelensky's honor. I just want peace in Ukraine.
What they have, very few people have. And
no, this is from earlier, yeah. Mute him. I hate him. Okay, you chatter. Yeah.
Which is the Democrat strategy. No one's ever explained it. I can see the U.S. interest in ending the war. We get mineral rights, energy and commodity prices go down. We could maybe add to our munitions, which have been spent over the last 3 years. You peel Russia away from China a little bit. I could go on and on. But sometimes, as you and all know, you have to break up to make up. And these things happen. Deals get blown up and they get cobbled back together. I'm sure next week they'll sign something.
Jesse has a point. I mean, what is the
Trump also, a new Trump quote. Zelensky did not look like a man who wants to make peace. What is happening? Is this actually because I wonder? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me hear my Queen Tarkov.
Just putting it out there, but he said, "I'll do what I can
Jessica
to make a
escaped
peace
from
deal."
Tarkov. Let's see what she has to say.
What they're signaling in this, and what Zelensky is signaling with his attitude, is something that the leader of the CDU, won the German elections, Merz, who will become the next chancellor, was talking about, that Europe is on its own with Ukraine now, that they do not feel that they have a partner in the U.S. who's going to be protecting and supporting Ukraine, or them going forward, and that Donald Trump has aligned himself more with Vladimir Putin than with the traditional Western world order, that the alliances in the post-World War II world are over, and that he likes Vladimir Putin better. I don't know. I understand you want to make a deal, and by the way, this deal doesn't seem like it had a lot for the Ukrainians. If what he wants is security.
Germany
and
is Russia's biggest customer. All they do is buy energy from Russia. And they didn't give a lot of weaponry to the Ukrainians, not nearly as much as we did. The Germans sat this one out, same with the French. The British and the Americans did the heavy lifting.
As a percentage of GDP, we rank 17th in terms of how much we've given them. That
percentage, Shermanage.
No,
Zelensky is thanking everyone alive right now.
We're richer. It doesn't matter, Jessica. We armed them to the teeth, and they did a hell of a job stopping the Russia war machine. But now it's time to end the war.
It is not just Democrats that are critical of this. Noted Democrat Karl Rove was on earlier talking about it. John Bolton, I get he doesn't like Trump anymore, but this guy is a traditional conservative person who's saying that this is a huge nightmare for the future.
Lindsey
of what
Graham
happened.
said kick him out. Lindsey Graham, who we all know, never saw a war he didn't want to fight, said, Zelensky, get out of town, you screwed the pooch.
Or a war that he wanted somebody else to fight.
Bro, Zelensky thinks subs harder than I do, dude. Holy shit. He's a better streamer. I mean, he is an entertainer first and foremost, so he knows how to do this.
This minerals deal hooks the United States deeply into the interests of Ukraine. Emily, in terms of the Democrat strategy,
I think subs
messaging this.
When I get gifted subs, I think subs.
Well, I personally think they are not winning, and that they never are. Look, I'll say this. At the end of the day, what we are looking at is peace through strength. Earlier in the meeting, President Trump said that he is continuing to send arms, but as he quoted, he said, but not too much more aid would be forthcoming. We're not looking forward to it. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. So respectfully as well to people like Christiane Amanpour, who says she's never seen anything like this. It's because she's never had the honor of being in the room behind closed doors without the press there when this is what diplomacy looks like, right? Taking out root canals and coming to agreements with the different alignments and different values is not always pretty. And that's confirmed by Secretary Pompeo, who earlier on our network shared,
This is one of the
this all the
questions.
time. He's just never seen it before in front of the cameras. And for pundits who come on air and say they call President Trump a coward and a puppet, well, is that what Biden was then in October of 2022, who on his call with Zelensky, as the Wall Street Journal and CNN reported, yelled at him, told him he wasn't thanking him enough. He didn't feel gratitude. He was simply wanting to take more. Is that what they called Biden back then? At the
Bro, we're literally operating on the whims of the most narcissistic man on the planet.
Who is in the art of the deal negotiating
With
what
the
that
flow,
looks
US,
like, which
thank you
is
for the
not
5
the
gifted.
World War II Axis allied nations. It's far more complicated than that, and it involves acquiescing in part to achieve mutually beneficial agreements. That means we don't simply ice out Russia and China because
Bro, we made them fucking literally, we threw their bodies on the line. We gave them old ass weapons. Okay. We told the European allies to cut their pre-existing deals with Russia and get natural gas from us instead. They had to set up new refineries for the process. And then we're turning around. We're like, you're not thanking us enough. Fuck you. It is so arrogant. It is so insane. Like, it is so psychotic, straight up. And now it's like, now these fucking donkeys on television are like, well, he didn't wear a suit. He wasn't respectful enough. He didn't suck off Trump enough. Like, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? Yeah, we have officially become the rug pull nation. We're rug pulling other nations, dude. What is this? What Joe Rogan, Elon Musk? Oh God, there's too much to cover. We are literally rug pulling other countries. Look. One small but not insignificant factor that irritated Trump was the fact that Zelensky didn't wear a suit. Two sources with direct knowledge told me. Trump advisors told Zelensky's team on multiple occasions that it would be more respectful for Zelensky to ditch his military-style attire when visiting the White House. This is what he also said with his fucking clown-ass hat. CBS News asked Trump what Zelensky needs to do in order to restart talks with Trump.
What does Zelensky need to do to restart talks with you?
He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that.
Dude, this is literally... Trump is mad for two reasons. One, because he feels disrespected. And two, he feels like in his mind, I think, he's like, we can't say anything mean about Vladimir Putin because if we do, he's just not going to come to the table. Okay? Which is insane. You're America. What do you mean? Like that he feels disrespected on behalf of Vladimir Putin. That's woke. Yeah, Trump is woke Trump. That's not how you deal. That's not how you do deals.
Negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war.
How is this helping Trump's case against being seen as a Russian state actor? Dude, I'm not even getting ahead of the Russiagate people anymore. Okay. Yeah, you guys can say whatever you want about this Russiagate stuff, okay? It's fine. You're right. He's Krasnov. Trump is Krasnov. He really is. Okay? He is the most Krasnov. He's a KGB asset. Fuck it, dude. I'm bluing on. You know, I'm on. I don't know what to say, okay? Like, yeah, I took a crash pill. Fuck it. Soviet Union sends their regards. Yeah. Like, what is happening, man? What is happening? It's just like, this is complete psychopathic nonsense.
His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay?
Like, everybody understands that, except for obviously liberals and people that only listen to liberal media. Like, Zelensky understands that. I can't believe it. I can't believe that this is how this is going. I genuinely can't.
I don't have to.
Zelensky doesn't have the 13 keys. Oh my God. I just realized the real conspiracy is not Krasnov. It's that Zelensky was an Alan Lichtman head. Oh my God. Zelensky, Disney was an Alan Lichtman head. He thought the 13 keys, Biden could have turned them. He was like oh no. Oh no. Zelensky thought Alan Lichtman was right, that Kamala was definitely on her way with the 13 keys that were turned to a resounding victory. That's what it is. That's what he thought was going on. It turns out that's not what was going on. Here's Trump taking questions.
It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a tremendous investment. I guess the biggest investment anybody's ever made in the country at one time. But they're going to be investing a lot of money, $500 billion. We have many other companies have just announced they're coming in. A lot of it's because of how we're doing. We've done a great turnaround in a little more than 30 days, but the country's really doing well. Really doing well. We're respected again all over the world. If you look, we had the Japanese Prime Minister. We had the Prime Minister yesterday of UK, as you know. We had the Prime Minister of India. We have another 20 Prime Ministers and Presidents wanting to come. And very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President. We'd say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand.
Okay, where they'll go next is entirely up to the likes of Steve Goatkoff. Where is Steve? Bring Steve in. Deploy him like an atom bomb. We need Steve.
Play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death.
Get Steve on the phone!
2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards.
If we sign, he's dealing with very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that, not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records, and I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are impressed with that. The other thing is the feeling about our country. The feeling is great. It's up 48% on feeling on business. And that's the record we've never had. There's never been a record where we've ever gone up that much in such a short period of time.
Think about that.
So we're doing really well.
You know, a lot of you are talking about Zelensky, but think about Ryan Ruth and how he feels.
Like, he's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? I don't have to tell you that. I think you know the answer to it.
I don't know why he keeps repeating, like, he doesn't have the cards. Yeah, no shit, dog. Everybody knows that. Well, except for, you know, CNN watchers and MSNBC watchers and whatnot. But, like, that is precisely the reason why you're not supposed to undermine him in the midst of a ceasefire negotiation. Like, it is the fact that he does not have the cards that should definitely, you know, that should definitely cause you to be a little bit more careful.
I want anybody that's going to make peace. If he's capable of making peace, which he may or may not be, but I want somebody that's going to make peace. Again, he doesn't have the cards. When we sign up, he's got all of the cards. That doesn't mean he can fight. He's got to stop the fighting, stop the death. He's losing hundreds of thousands of soldiers. It's time to stop the death. Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that. They should have an immediate ceasefire. That was the other thing he didn't want to do about ceasefire. A ceasefire could take place immediately. A contract, if you want to end the war, you sign up an agreement. That's going to take a period of time. It takes time. I want it to end immediately. And I think if you had a ceasefire, it would be a ceasefire, a real one, that would end it. But he doesn't want to do that. That's fine. Do it better. I want it to end immediately. I want a ceasefire now. He says, oh, I don't want a ceasefire. Well, all of a sudden, he's a big shot because he has the U.S.
doesn't
on
have
his
the
side.
cards. You already know. Why the
Either
fuck
we're
is
going to
he
end it or
hitting
let him
this?
fight it out. And if he fights it out, it's not going to be pretty. Because without us, he doesn't win. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what I'm considering. I'm just telling you. You saw what I saw today. That was not a man that wanted to make.
Is it bad that I don't disagree too much? No, on principle, bringing Putin and Zelensky, which is important to recognize here, Zelensky, to the table is what is supposed to happen. Okay? But he's not supposed to be chirping like this in front of the fucking cameras. Okay? Even if Zelensky's like, Mr. President, we need security assurances. Like, here are the valid reasons as to why we need some security from the American side. Like, we won't actually tilt the scales at all, but we understandably want, you know, land back and also a formative security assurance here from you guys in exchange for these fucking minerals. Okay, if that's the case, then that conversation is supposed to take place behind closed doors. When you do that conversation out and about in broad daylight and then also fucking lose your shit like this, like, I don't know where we go from here, you know? He's not wrong when he says Ukraine doesn't have the cards. Yeah, he's right. That's why Zelensky is, you know, thanking every European ally on the timeline, okay, on Twitter, but that's not going to move the needle. I don't think that Europe, especially right now, has the capability of mounting a defense for Ukraine without the United States of America, okay? Especially because Ukraine does not have the manpower to continue defending itself from Russian forces. But everyone already understands this. except for Trump, I guess. I don't know. Or he understands it, but he still wants to be fucking a bully. I never thought I would see Hasanabi plus Putin apologist. Fuck you, Putin puppets. Wait, what? Putin apologist? Dude, this is the kind of attitude I think that liberals need to shake away very quickly. Like they need to stop doing this. I need you to understand, like this invasion will always end by terms dictated on the battlefield. And currently, the terms dictated on the battlefield do not look great for Ukraine. It doesn't look great for Russia either, which is why they are willing to come to the table. What is the liberal approach to end the war? I feel like there is none. Yeah, that's the other side of the problem. That's why this is happening, because the reasonable liberals, the liberals of sound mind, I guess, thought that this would just continue the way it is with Donald Trump. Ukraine cannot get back the land taken by Russia. They cannot continue this war for another year. It's either say Putin's a thug, but that's not going to result in anything. I know. But having said that, the way that Trump is going through this process is also fucking insane, because Trump is also undermining the ceasefire himself. It is in his best interest not to fuck over Zelensky, at least actively and openly in broad daylight in the way that he is, especially without a replacement in mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there is no replacement in mind for Zelensky that is pro-Russia, for example, if that's the goal here. He's just literally going on a whim. He's just operating on, he is running American policy on pure narcissism right now. What Trump says in this moment is also inconsequential. What will, just like what he said about ethnically cleansing Gaza was utterly inconsequential. What matters is what the other people who will actually cut these deals will say. That's why I'm not even that interested in what Zelensky's appearance is going to look like at 6 p.m. Okay, in 15 minutes when he goes on Bret Baier. I'm interested to hear what Marco Rubio is going to say at 9 p.m. on CNN. Later tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Marco Rubio is going to go on Caitlin Collins' show and describe the events that unfolded. He is going to, of course, predictably defend Trump and glaze Trump, but he will most likely communicate a more reasonable approach that will help me make a better assessment of like what the meta is here, what the goal is here, because this is how it usually goes. This happened last time around as well. Last Trump administration, the last time around, the Trump administration would deliver an important address to the nation, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Last time around, Donald Trump would just come off and say insane stuff over and over again, right? A source close to Trump told me Zelensky should use his interview with Bret Baier to apologize to Trump. I'm going to repeat this one more time. America has always burned assets, okay? That's normal. They've just never burned an asset that is a whole ass sovereign nation with like 40 million people after using and abusing them and you know, stealing their natural resources purely on the whims of one madman. I don't know what the goal is. I don't know where they go here, but I do think that Zelensky will probably apologize. No matter how much Zelensky apologizes, there's no shot Trump will cave in. We can only rug pull the Kurds every time. This is a new level. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is, they're treating Ukraine like Kurdish militias in the region, in the Middle East. It is not one madman. It is simple deployment of troops globally, and also 60% of said stores, logistics. What? Trump lies. It is not one madman. No, it's definitely one madman. What you think? You think Marco Rubio wanted Trump to behave like this? You can look at his face. I don't think he wanted Trump to behave like this. And if you're trying to say like it's Trump and Putin, sure, fair. But I don't think even Putin thought Trump would behave like this. Yeah, Ukraine getting dropped harder than the SDF when the Turks appear on the hills. Exactly. Dude, for the record, Elent News can also attest to this. He's been here throughout this entire process, I believe. But like I said this probably a million times in the past 3 years. The inevitability of America just being like, all right, we're done with you. Okay? This is what we do. This is not foresight. It's not hindsight. It's just sight. This is what we do. I've had this conversation a lot. I've had this exact same conversation on multiple occasions. The NATO heads would yell at me non-fucking stop about how I was in support of Adolf Hitler. Things were arguably looking up for Zelensky this morning. Now Trump is going to make him apologize on Fox News, probably in English, Ukrainian, and Russian. Yeah. When was the last time U.S. did that? Just drop him? Wait, what? Every single instance. Virtually every single one of our supposed military allies we've done this to. It's always. It was sadly coming. Saw it with the SDF, Afghan government, now Ukraine, etc. Everyone gets dropped by Uncle Sam eventually. Yes. Everyone. Always. And forever. This is American foreign policy. This is how it works. Welcome to those who accept Israel. Dog, Israel is America.
And in the last few minutes, we're also hearing from Fox News in the United States that a White House official has told them, and I quote, Trump kicked out Zelensky. He did not walk off on his own. The rare minerals deal was not signed. The White House says the Ukrainians were, and again I quote, begging to reset. But Rubio and Waltz, that's Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, informed them Zelensky needs to leave the White House grounds and return when he's ready for peace. The president and US officials felt disrespected by Zelensky's rhetoric and demeanour, and they cited that he was shrugging and rolling his eyes throughout the conversation. At the end of that extraordinary back and forth in the Oval Office, President Trump told reporters that this would make great television. Well, it did that, but it certainly has not made great diplomacy. It has set back efforts to bring about peace in Ukraine by some distance. What was played out for the world to see was just remarkable. It really began when President Trump suggested that he was not aligned with Russia or Ukraine, but was somewhere in the middle. If that statement from a president of the United States doesn't tell you that the geopolitical plates have shifted, nothing ever will. And then, of course,
Remember how you get called a fucking tanky for this take on U.S. foreign policy like 3 months ago? I got called a fucking tanky for this take on U.S. foreign policy, 2 years ago as well. It's not just 3 months ago. The needle drop. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream, brother. We are watching the American foreign policy collapse in and of itself and move in the trajectory of being a more violent force than even previously, while dropping all pretense of doing any sort of soft power initiatives. Welcome to the new meta of the dying empire.
President Zelensky wanted to know what diplomacy meant because he says Vladimir Putin doesn't honour ceasefires. That's what prompted the Vice President J.D. Vance to intervene and accuse him of being disrespectful. And it ultimately came to the point where President Trump then said that he was gambling with World War III. Don't tell us what we're going to feel in future. You're in no position to do that. Make a deal or get out. Well, they didn't make the deal, and he has got out. And right now, I think it is a defining moment for Ukraine, for Europe, for America, and arguably for the world.
Now I want to bring back Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett for more context here. Major, we're just learning the White House has said that after the meeting, the Ukrainian officials left the Oval Office in a separated...
That's the other part of this. Blowback, most likely to Europe first and foremost, and then definitely to America as well. But that's not in the immediate future. Okay? Yeah, I know the Zelensky interview is apparently going to be on Fox News in 6 minutes, I know, with Brett Baer, where he most likely will apologize to Donald Trump. That's what I think. But yeah, what is blowback? It's perhaps one of my most famous quotes about America and what it deserves and what it did to itself.
Personally feel that this entire dismantling was the only way to do it because I tried for so hard to empty out the ocean with a bucket, but I saw that it did nothing. So there was nothing in the past that came close to the efficacy that we're seeing now.
Right, you don't need a bucket, you just need a chainsaw. One more thing is up next.
Room, and it sounds like they were waiting to see if they could re-engage in some conversations that didn't happen, and essentially they were escorted out. Based on your reporting, is that pretty extraordinary?
Very. It's for the moment, and President Trump can and does sometimes change his
clips,
mind
not
and
quotes.
perspective.
No, I got quotes and clips too, but also quotes.
This could be put back together, but for the moment, it is a significant, hard to repair breach in relations between President Zelensky and President Trump. And why was Zelensky here? He was here because through this week, there had been a negotiating process that we were told had led to an agreement about U.S. access on a long-term basis to rare earth minerals in Ukraine. That would be an important linkage of the two countries. And the Trump administration saw within that agreement not only a way to recoup some of the money sent to Ukraine. It's not anywhere near as much as President Trump says. He always says $350 billion. It's much closer to $120 billion. But this would be a way to recoup some of that, a priority for President Trump. And the administration and the Ukrainians agreed that that linkage, economically and otherwise, would be a de facto way of the United States saying, we're here with Ukraine, and this is an implied security guarantee. This was very important for the Ukrainians to establish. The terms were negotiated all this week. They were more favorable to Ukraine than the original proposition that came from the Trump administration, but they were going to put this deal together. Now that appears to be off for the time being. And President Trump is quite clearly using that as leverage over the Ukrainians, not only in the context of whatever may be negotiated to end this war, but continued U.S. involvement in Ukraine. So the president's terms are now clear. If President Zelensky leaves Washington and goes back to Ukraine, he will not be welcomed back to the White House until the terms have become even more favorable to the administration, less favorable to Ukraine. So these next few hours will be crucial in determining whether any of this can be repaired, or at least a semblance of patching them back together can be begun.
Okay, Major Garrett, thank you so much. Again,
well, if you can just take a snapshot of what's on social media on the Ukrainian side to give a flavour of how many young Ukrainians are responding to those extraordinary scenes that we've just...
Proof of what you're saying Israel's building up? No, I know that this is an emergency arms release that does not require congressional review. I know. I already mentioned that. And they're also mobilizing. They're mobilizing troops as well. And also the American government, we found out, the Trump administration told Israel that if they wanted to, they could have attacked Lebanon during the funeral proceedings of Hassan Nasrallah. As a matter of fact, they said, we would like for you to do so. I don't know why, but apparently MSNBC is insisting this was planned by Trump, going by mom watching it, stating you'd never have a vice president speak or be there or something. Do you think Zelensky should apologize? Personally, I don't think he should. But because of how much power it would give Trump over him, he does have that power over him. What do you mean? I think he will apologize, but this is why I said what Trump is saying here doesn't really matter all that much either. What Marco Rubio says is more important. What Marco Rubio says is more important than what Trump
Tune into Special Report. President Zelensky is set to be interviewed by Bret Baier after that huge blow-up with President Trump. All right, stay tuned for that. First up, Jesse.
I wonder what Brett's going to ask Zelensky.
About his outfit.
All right. Pickleball season is upon us. Spring has sprung. Go to the Fox shop, foxnews.com, shop, to purchase your brand new Fox News pickleball set. 2 paddles, 1 ball. It's only $70. You can afford it. It is the...
What the fuck? Oh, God. This part was so funny. The Zelensky can't come back right now. Anyway, let's continue.
Just witnessed in the Oval
I'm waiting
Office.
for the Bret Baier, okay?
Actually, for Vladimir Zelensky for standing up to Donald Trump's language, berating him on the in front of television cameras.
I do think it's kind of wild that like fucking Bret Baier and the conversation that he's having with the Ukrainian president is potentially going to impact American foreign policy to a certain degree. Like that is kind of crazy.
As you said, accusing him of gambling with World War III. J.D. Vance then telling him he needs to be more thankful. And that really uncomfortable scene of this wartime president, his arms folded,
That's in 3 hours, brother? No, it's not. It's right now. Once this is over, it's going to start. It's at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Eastern.
and then being really sort of shouted down, trying to sort of stand his ground and give the reality from the ground here in Ukraine, but only to be told that he shouldn't.
Good evening.
Tell
Welcome to Washington.
the
I'm Brett
president.
Baer. Breaking tonight, what was supposed to be a major step forward toward peace in Ukraine turned into a verbal warfare today at the White House. President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky engaging in a tense argument in the Office.
What about good position? You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't have. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people.
The American leader canceled the scheduled signing of a rare earth mineral deal and essentially kicked his guest out of the building, saying he can, quote, come back when he is ready for peace. We will speak with President Zelensky in just a moment right here on set. But first, to set the table and give context to today's Oval Office meeting, senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich joins us live from the North Lawn. Good evening, Jackie.
Good evening, Brett. No deal, no joint news conference, even though that meeting began warmly. The president wanted the minerals deal signed as back pay for previous U.S. support, while the peace talks continue with discussions for post-war security guarantees to come later, emphasizing the need for diplomacy with Russia. Zelensky warned not to trust Putin, again demanding security, and the world watched as it unraveled.
Not even a handshake. Ukrainian President Zelensky's delegation piling into an SUV outside the West Wing after President Trump told him to leave the White House grounds. White House officials say the Ukrainians begged to reset as Secretary of State Marco Rubio and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz delivered the news. The president posting online, Zelensky disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace.
Your people are very brave, but you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
The talks went off the rails. The Ukrainian ambassador visibly distressed, head in hand, as Zelensky again voiced the need for security guarantees, which were not part of the minerals deal. The U.S. viewing its stake in Ukraine's development as a guarantee of its own.
I met with Zelensky this morning. I urged him to stay on.
Libs are so funny, dude. He's like, polling USA, calling Ukraine a proxy is insane, dude. Brother, I said, brother, this war absolutely started by Russia and they're entirely responsible for the bloodshed. But if you think Ukraine has any say in this equation, I don't think you've been watching what's going on for the past month. Why would Zelensky show up to even sign Trump's deal? Like, it's so crazy to me that liberals are still operating on this like, no, this is actually Ukrainian sovereignty. Ukraine is making sovereign decisions here. Like, how, what is this? Why would Zelensky show up if there was any autonomy in this process? Zelensky's ask for security assurances is absolutely reasonable. Yes, this is about democracy. What are people saying? I just don't understand what they're watching and what's unfolding in front of their eyes doesn't make sense to the way that they have they've designed this world.
Answer to Vice President Vance's demand was not enough to reset today. The president, now headed to Mar-a-Lago, said Zelensky won't accept an immediate ceasefire. Meantime, Ukrainian lawmakers are alarmed that Putin is laughing, and Russia did try to watch this closely today. A Russian state media reporter snuck into the Oval Office before getting kicked out. Brett.
Jackie Heinrich, live on the North Lawn. Jackie, thank you. We are pleased to welcome back to Special Report Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. President, thank you for the time today, especially on this day, to continue to do this interview. President Trump said after your meeting that you disrespected him and the Vice President and all of America in the Oval Office. Do you think you did? And do you think you owe an apology to President Trump?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for the invitation for this dialogue, and good evening to all your country, to all Americans. I'm very thankful to Americans for all your support. You did a lot. I'm thankful to President Trump and to Congress bipartisan support. And I was always very thankful from all our people. You helped us a lot from the very beginning during 3 years of full-scale innovation. You helped us to survive. Anyway, we are strategic partners, and even in such tough dialogue. And I think we have to be very honest and we have to be very direct to understand each other, because it's very, for us, very necessary to President Trump, and I'm with all respect that he wants to finish this war, but nobody wants to finish more than we.
He's not
because
apologizing.
We in Ukraine, we are in this war, we are in this battle, and battle for freedom for our lives. So I'm just telling that I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin. And I heard from President Trump a lot of times that
why shouldn't he?
He will stop the war, and I hope he will, and we need to pressure him with Europe, with all the partners.
Unless he
and
called
I think
Xi
this
Jinping
dialogue
after
had to
the
be
fucking
a little bit earlier to understand
Trump shit.
where we are. Like, you know, I don't remember exactly, but like President Reagan said, that peace is not just an absent the war. Yes, we are speaking about just and lasting peace, about freedom, about justice, about human rights. And that's why I said that I think so, that ceasefire, and you know Putin, he broken 25 times ceasefire during all these years, 10 years.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a
Oh
thought
my
that
God,
you owe
Brett
the
Baer's
president
dressing
an
him down.
apology.
No, I respect President, and I respect American people, and if, I don't know, if, I think that we have to be very open and very honest, and I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media, but there are things that where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians, and I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. You know, we are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
I'm told that you were told multiple times from lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the White House to make today about the minerals deal and the economic deal, and then get it signed and let negotiations play out over security guarantees step by step. Is that true?
I said that we have to sign this document, and we are ready for this, and this will be the first step to security guarantees, but it's not enough. I think so. Maybe I don't know something. I don't know some details. That's why I wanted to share it with the president.
He's not apologizing.
My thoughts, and to hear him.
Oh my
again,
God!
Because he has a plan how to stop Putin, and maybe,
I apologize,
as I said, maybe it's out of big conversations, but we have to share it. You know. This is so sensitive, you know, just a ceasefire without security.
What does he know that I don't know? This is what I don't understand. He, by the way, under no circumstances does he owe Trump an apology. Make no mistake.
America now, and that America will
of course, he doesn't owe him an apology, but Trump is a fucking narcissistic psychopath. Does he not? Does he think he can reason with the Republicans? Like, I don't understand.
Europeans, we don't need to lose.
Does he think he can reason with the Republicans by communicating directly to the American population? Does he think that he can break through the fucking MAGA hallucinations? Like, that is insane.
Don't need to lose Europe, and they also want to know next steps. We have to be very open to understand how to stop the war.
Right. But do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean, this this is not good for both sides anyway, and I very open, but I can't, you know, change our Ukrainian attitude to Russia, and I don't want they kill us for us. You know, this is very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
President Trump is convinced.
Damn, maybe Eastern Europe is not your forte.
Never sign a deal.
Okay, just wait.
What I think, Ukraine wants peace, and we will have anyway diplomacy. We will have negotiations. I only said that I think so. It's about just and lasting peace. It means that we have to be very strong at the table of negotiations, and at these negotiations, Ukraine and Russia, like sides of this war have to be, and the United States and Europe. That's what I said. So we are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees.
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
Ukraine is your
What do you make of
kryptonite.
that?
You somehow
do you want
always
to continue
miss.
fighting? Do you want peace?
Okay,
And if
y'all are some of the dumbest people I've ever fucking encountered. Dude, this doesn't change the fucking insanity of Donald Trump. What is wrong with you? Even him apologizing most likely would not have changed the insanity of Donald Trump.
And
You're
thanks for
misunderstanding my
invitation.
point.
Again, the deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brad. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace. It's true. We want security guarantees. We raised this topic about NATO the quickest way, but not all the countries are on this side. I said, okay, if not NATO, nobody is pushing. If not NATO, let's build NATO in Ukraine. That's my position. Europeans are ready to have contingents on our territory, boots on the ground. United States thinks maybe to help, maybe USA backstop, have to be just to guarantee that they are with Europeans. Look at Europe, it's strong. It became stronger, but they also want to have allies like the United States. That's what I said. I just want to understand what the peace. It's not my question, Brad. This is the question from all our people.
You mentioned when I traveled to the front lines with you last year to see the situation, to mark the anniversary of the war, and this is what you told me back then.
Will Ukrainians survive without Congress support? Of course, but not all of us. It will be tragedy for all of us, not only for Ukraine, not only for Ukrainians, for all Europe. Yeah.
So the question today is, can Ukraine win this war or hold off Russia without continued U.S. support?
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here. That's why we speak about the future negotiations. It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose our values, our people. We can't lose our freedom. So a lot of people, Russians came to our territory, you know it. Russians came to our houses, and everybody saw it, video, images, a lot of things. They killed so many people. Just to forget it, just to say that Putin is a great guy? No, without us. We don't want it. That's why we speak about, you know, everybody remembered how it was the first days of the war, how they came. Nobody wants in Ukraine. Yes, of course, nobody will forget it, but nobody wants to have, again, new wave of occupation. That's why when we say, no NATO, what security guarantees can we have? I'm not pushing, we are not pressuring, we're just asking, we're just sharing very clear messages to our friends, to Americans.
Right.
If you stay with us, thank you so much. But let's do the infrastructure of security guarantees. Let's just share with our people, just with our people, that America, stay with us. That's great. We count on it. But just to share it and to say it, that's all.
How does the war end? How do you get to a deal? You're at a place right now where there is no deal. How do you get it back on track?
I think that Europe is ready for contingents and to help us with financing of big army, such big as we have now. This is our army, is the part of security guarantees. Now we want to just to find the place for our biggest strategic partner, for the United States, or United States will propose where and how the United States will give us security guarantees, what kind of and what part of volume of security guarantees. And when we will be ready with this, we will come to diplomacy.
We're living in Trump world,
to diplomacy. Yes, with Russians, Europeans, United States, and we. Four of us. I think this is real way, because with weapon is too long. It's not enough. We don't have enough weapon to push them out, and we don't see now. For now, we don't see really big volume of new support from the United States. But with all respect, again, so for today, we'll be ready with security guarantee. Really, when I say NATO, it's not about that we are focusing on this war.
Stance absolutely
it's about
sucks
very
balls. Honestly, losing respect for you. Wait, what?
Security guarantees, and you see that no NATO countries for today.
You think
no
Zelensky
NATO
actually disrespected Donald Trump? What are you, fucking insane?
Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, he has
came
been
to
a
fucking
big
grovel and
proponent
beg.
of you and of Ukraine, said this today after the meeting.
This, on the other hand, will be seen as further evidence of the disrespect by the fucking MAGA crowd. I think Zelensky thinks Americans broadly will listen to reason. Not on mute. We already heard this before. Shut the fuck up.
Do business with Zelensky again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
I feel like this is going to cause Trump to dig his heels in.
Resigning. Is that on the table?
I don't know if he will be happy after my words. This decision can do only people of Ukraine.
Oh, Brace. Oh shit.
You're not going to
Brace
step
texted me.
down
Hold
to
on.
do a peace deal.
No, I was always ready. I'm not sure that is a good idea for this such proposals. But anyway, I always said if United States will support NATO, so I think that it's enough for Ukraine. So I think I did all I had to do. And if somebody is not happy with me, okay. But between us, yes. Americans vote for American president. Each European country vote for their president, and only Ukraine. With all respect to Lindsey, if I can say Lindsey, we know each other. Yes, and only Ukrainians.
Democrats have had
their president.
Democrats have had the opposite reaction to the Oval Office meeting. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut posted this. What just happened in the Oval Office was a planned ambush designed to help a brutal Russian dictator and hurt America's security. Trump has become Putin's lapdog, and America's global power is hemorrhaging as America sides with dictators over democracy. What an embarrassment. Do you think the confrontation in the Oval Office today was pre-planned, like Senator Murphy suggests?
I don't know.
You don't know? You think maybe?
I don't know. No. I don't. I don't know about it. I think no. I think it was just a really tough situation because we've been very open, very direct.
What set you off? What made you mad? Because they said your tenor and tone.
It's not about mad. It's not, how to say, when you are in the United States, and for example, president or vice president or somebody or senators, it doesn't matter, big politicians, yes, when they, for example, say that Ukraine is almost destroyed, that our soldiers run away, that they are not heroes, that Ukraine lost millions of civilians, that his president is dictator, you know? What is the reaction? It's not about me. The reaction is that where is our friendship between Ukraine and the United States? That's it. This is feeling, and that's why I do not want to lose our great partners at the United States. And I just said that it's not the first time.
Bro, I swear to God, Trump is such a fucking insane sociopath. He's gonna sell Ukraine to Russia.
And I said, please, be.
This is going to cause Trump to disband NATO in its entirety, I feel like.
Be correct with this number. When you say about the number,
Zelensky is far too good faith. He does not understand how selfish Americans are.
When you speak about
this is the craziest thing I've ever watched.
It's not just territory, it's houses. It's people's lives. You know, their fathers, mother, their relatives, grandfather, they died or during this war. Nobody wants to forgive Putin. It's not funny, you know, or fairy tale. This is real life. That's what I said. And when you said it, a lot of times to my big friends who've been here today in our dialogue, and then they again begin to repeat the same things, I think it's not, that's why I said it's not good way between partners, good partners and friends. That's it. And I think that if journalists asking questions to president, with all respect to vice president, I mean, he has his interview.
Mr.
This
President,
is
shouldn't this dynamic, if you're going to be like this, be behind closed doors, not?
Of course. And
so, do you regret that? Are you regretting that happened today?
Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good because we had a lot of different dialogues. I'm always open to
Isn't it funny
media,
how they're basically saying exactly what I was saying?
Things. I just
chatters,
want to be
dickhead
honest,
chatters, and say you don't understand Eastern European politics.
Understand the situation correctly. And
what did I say half a fucking hour ago or 2 hours ago?
That's about us. Not to lose our friendship.
A couple more things.
This kind of back and forth is supposed to happen behind closed doors, not in fucking broad daylight. These conversations are supposed to happen.
I think so. I think so. United States wanted this deal very much, and we've been not against this deal, but we wanted to understand what parts
Trump is going to go crazy after this interview, by the way,
and what next steps. Just again to understand for our people, during the war, what you don't like, even sometimes hate, surprises. It's understandable. Many terrible things this war brought to us. So we don't want any surprises. Yes, that's why we want to be very fair with our partners. And I think this deal, it was prepared by teams. It was not simple during weeks. And now it's ready. I think that they have to sign. The countries have to sign. The ministers have to sign. That's it. I don't know when they will do it. It depends on the American side.
So
exactly.
The minerals deal did not have security guarantees listed in it.
It's a part.
The security guarantees?
This is the part in the infrastructure of security guarantees. Because, for example, President Trump said that I think so that if we will be there in some productions and etc. in minerals, that Putin will never come on this territory where we are. And I said to him, don't trust Putin. Why? I said, because it's not, I mean, we respect and we believe in strongness of the United States, but I said to him that we had more than 20 companies, American companies, big companies on the territory of Ukraine, and we had offices even on temporary occupied territories. For Putin, it doesn't matter. It's American, European company or Ukraine, it doesn't matter. He just came and occupied it. That's what I said. I think this is a great idea, how to strengthen Ukraine and how to make business between two countries, how to make additional jobs for two countries. But it's not just this will not save us.
I read what the Democratic senator said, that Trump has become Putin's lapdog. Do you agree with that President Trump is too close to Vladimir Putin in your mind?
Brett, shut up.
We spoke about it, and I think today
Brett,
very openly,
stop baiting him.
He said that I want to be in the middle, otherwise I will not put these guys at the table.
And is he right?
I want to be very honest, I want really him to be more at our side. I will explain why. Because it's
Trump
not just that the war began somewhere between our countries. The war began when Russia brought this war to our country, and they are not right. And they are not right. They didn't respect our territorial integrity. They brought the war on our territory to our families. Sorry for repeating, to our houses. And they're not right. And of course, all the Ukrainians want to hear strong position of the United States on our side. From one side, it's understandable. From another side, he wants to find some way of dialogue with Putin. But he always said, as I remember, he always said that peace through strength. And that's why I think that he's strong, United States strong, two parties together in this question, two parties always together against Russia. You're very strong to do strong steps against Putin.
Americans are worried about where the money has gone.
Yeah.
Will there be a very rigorous accounting of where the money has gone? It seems like there is some question about whether there's corruption or sold military equipment.
No, it can't be so. 100 billions we've got during 3 years.
183 from the U.S.
Yeah. Now, on the paper, in the documents, yes, but we have, in fact, because 67 came like a weapon, It came through the border. It's checked and it's fixed by everybody, and we shared it not once with the American side. And 31.5, it was direct financial support to the budget. Again, it's very open. It digitalized. It's open, free, and please, if somebody wants to check it again, we are very, very open with this.
Last thing, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be. Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people. And that's why I always began with to thank your people, from our people. And this is the most important. And of course, thankful to
Zelensky,
President
it's
and
not
of
a
course
democracy.
to Congress, but first of all to your people.
Please,
your people
stop.
help to save our people. People, the first.
The people's
Human
wishes
rights,
don't matter.
The first.
They're
This
not
is
on your
very,
side,
very
Zelensky.
important. And we are
MAGA
thankful.
is a cult.
And
Don't
sorry for
say
this.
it.
I mean, this, we wanted very much to have only
He
strong
literally
relations,
thinks he can
and I'm
reason with the
very
American
confident we will
public.
have it.
It's insane.
Mr. President, we're honored that you kept this interview. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
When we come back, we'll bring in our panel for analysis.
This was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Okay. I think he legitimately thinks if he talks directly to the MAGA audience, okay, that they will listen to reason. They will not. Also, the opinions of the MAGA crowd in general are utterly irrelevant in this process. They're not relevant at all. Trump's own personal mania is the most relevant factor. I think ultimately it's defense contractors and where they go and what their interest is. But any sort of posturing against Donald Trump will do everything in his fucking power to undermine that deal, especially after Zelensky actively said, no, I'm not apologizing. You are all brain dead. I think people don't understand my position here. Okay? People don't understand where I'm coming from. I'm not saying Zelensky is in the wrong. Okay? I don't even think he disrespected or undermined Donald Trump this morning. What I'm simply stating is Trump is not normal. He is insane. He very clearly did an insane thing today. What the fuck? That's it. Do you have a Ryan Ruth apology form? First of all, I've been a #1 Ryan Ruth loyalist since day one, so I don't need to apologize for anything. If he says sorry, he would be toast among Ukrainians. They are embattled. Bro, I'm serious. It's just fuck. All right, I'm gonna talk to Brace Belden right now. Okay. Trump is gonna tweet out that I didn't hear sorry or some shit like that, and then oh my god, look at what they're fucking posting. This is the dumbest. We are in officially the dumbest stage of history. It is completely psychotic. All right, I'm calling Brace Belden to make sense of the senseless. Okay.
Damn, this guy's good.